This is ESPN on ABC, brought to you in part by Samsung QLED TV, the official TV of ESPN College Football.
Clemson's Tigers follow their own paw prints to their home away from home, hunting another ACC crown and playoff bid. Their challengers from Pitt have been counted out and written off. But the blue-collar Panthers carry belief and a history of stunners. Tonight in rainy Charlotte on Championship Saturday, Clemson's veterans like Christian Wilkins remain as hungry for hardware as ever, and freshman Trevor Lawrence seeks his first taste of a title. The Tigers and the Panthers for the ACC crown. It's a soggy day in Charlotte. Welcome to the 2018 Dr. Pepper ACC Football Championship game between the second-ranked undefeated Tigers of Clemson, the defending champions, and the challengers from Pittsburgh, winners of the Coastal Division for the first time in their throwback blue and gold uniforms. And welcome, Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Maria Taylor will join us, and welcome to Championship Saturday evening. Some more puzzle pieces to fall into place tonight, including right here, Kirk, and some have already fallen into place this afternoon. What an SEC storyline as it's Jalen Hurts off the bench, replacing Tua Tagovailoa, double digits down, leads the Tide back to another heartbreaking loss for Georgia.
Not only a great story, but so impactful as far as what's happening right now with the playoff and the way this thing might eventually shake out. Georgia did everything they could to impress the committee. We still have this game tonight with Clemson. Of course, Ohio State playing in Indianapolis against Northwestern to find out how it'll shake down. But that was a lot of drama. Hollywood script couldn't have been any better with what Jalen did.
Amazing. Oklahoma took care of business over Texas. They win the Big 12 for the fourth consecutive year. They certainly believe they're in. Georgia will lobby. Ohio State will try for a huge victory tonight. But Clemson has clarity. Once again, they come in knowing you win, you're in. We've seen this now 4 years in a row against a challenger from the other side.
Yeah, and I think this is a comfortable team. Dabo Swinney knows how to get his team ready. In fact, I would argue that they're right now playing their best football on offense coming into this game. And I think it has a lot to do with Trevor Lawrence continuing to grow as a young true freshman, and the fact that he has a lot of playmakers around him. They're a balanced attack. Travis Etienne, I think one of the most explosive runners in the sport. He can stretch this field not only horizontally, also vertically, and that opens up the running game for Etienne, and that's what Pitt is facing tonight. They are an aggressive defense. They want to get downhill. They want to try to take away that running game of Etienne, but when you do that, you leave yourself on islands, and that's what opens things up for Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, Pat Narduzzi, defensive-minded guy, carries the chip on his shoulder. His team's been counted out. They were picked 5th in their division coming in, given a 2% chance to win. But they were given a 2% chance to win 2 years ago in Clemson, and they shocked the Tigers in Death Valley. James Conner was on that team. Nathan Peterman had a big game. They intercepted Deshaun Watson 3 times, but it all came down to a long field goal at the end as Chris Blewett, who is here tonight, knocks it through. The only home loss for the current crop of Clemson seniors. They want to avenge that tonight, but the Panthers have some guys who are on that team, including Kadri Olison, who still are filled with belief. Now they got a new cast of runners, not James Conner anymore.
Yeah, but I think they need to go back to 2016 and think about the offensive style and what they did. Different offensive coordinator. You're right. You don't have James Conner back there, but these two are very capable. And you also have an offense that I think is aware you just can't line up and say, we're physical. We run the ball. They're 120th in the nation throwing. They have to come up with some tricks, different formations, different personnel groupings, tempo, jet sweep, affect the eyes of the Clemson defense to try to see if you can get them to bust, affect their communication, and try to hit some big plays.
They'll face a Clemson defense coming off by far their worst game of the season, maybe in recent years. They've been lit up. They've talked about redemption and the need to bounce back tonight. We'll see how all that plays out. Clemson, about a 4-touchdown favorite to claim their 4th consecutive ACC crown and a playoff bid. But can the Panthers draw on that history of shockers and come up with another one tonight? Clemson and Pitt for the ACC title is straight ahead from Charlotte. Guys, thank you. Panthers quarterback Kenny Pickett is a kid from the Jersey Shore. He fits the Pitt mold. Tough and scrappy, no nonsense, and not daunted by a big test. He'll get that tonight from Clemson's D. Tanner Muse and company were toasted and roasted last week. Tanner's mom took to Twitter to defend them. He and fellow safety Kayvon Wallace vow to bounce back to respond tonight and claim yet another ACC crown and college football playoff bid. This has been the Nissan pregame rush. Kickoff from Charlotte is coming up next, but now a look inside Nissan's Heisman House.
You're watching Dr. Pepper Championship Week.
Back when I was a player, you know, they had the big-time bus, and then they had the Roy bus, the rest of y'all. Alabama's on bus 1, 2, and 3, and then it's the Roys. We're just glad to be on the Roy bus right now.
Hey, Dabo, that's quite the sermon. But Clemson isn't just on the Roy bus. They've been riding shotgun all season. Second in the nation, on the cusp of a 4th straight ACC championship. So, is Pitt scared? No. They've already faced a Clemson team that looked a lot like this one.
The ball is down. The kick is on its way. That kick long enough. That kick high enough. And that kick is good! They have rocked Clemson's world and shaken up all of college football.
It don't matter. Number 1, number 2, we're here.
Pitt lives for nights like this. These dudes are from Steel Town. This is the team of Marino, Fitzgerald, Dorsett, Ditka, the Clemson Tigers, and the Pittsburgh Panthers. Hey, it's only the entire season on the line.
Pittsburgh seeking its first ever outright conference title. They shared a couple of titles in the old Big East. Meanwhile, Clemson winners of 55 of the last 59, seeking their 4th consecutive. Maria Taylor's with Dabo Swinney. Hey, Maria.
All right, Coach, your team is playing their 4th straight ACC championship game, so they're used to being here. What is the final message you wanted to deliver before they took the field?
Just be who we are. You know, we prepared all year for this moment. Have joy in the moment. Dominate the moment. Have fun doing it. Everybody do your job. It's championship football. It's one play at a time.
All right, thanks for your time.
Got it.
We'll see Dabo Swinney's offense on the field first. Pittsburgh won the toss and deferred. So Alex Kessman, excellent long-distance kicker to boot it away. And Darian Kendrick, the true freshman receiver, has become an increasing weapon in this offense as the deep man.
Former high school quarterback knows what to do with the football in his hands. He's electrifying.
Soggy weather in Charlotte. Misty rain could get heavier as this game unfolds. Could be a factor in the kicking game and for the quarterbacks tonight. Can Clemson punch its ticket, or the Panthers pull a big surprise? Like most of Kessman's kickoffs, that is a touchback. So here comes Trevor Lawrence, 22 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, ACC Newcomer of the Year in a landslide vote.
Yeah, 6'6", 215. We've been watching him grow since the beginning of the year. Took over for Kelly Bryant early, and I think right now playing his best football. Seems to be in real command of the offense. Doing a really good job against blitzes, and that's what he's going to see tonight. Pat Narduzzi knows they've got to bring pressure. They've got to load the line of scrimmage against the run. Try to come after the young quarterback.
Hasn't looked like a freshman all season long. This is 9th start. Expects to handle the championship game nerves just fine tonight. And it's Travis Etienne looking for room on the right side and finding it. Etienne into the secondary. And a foot race. They won't catch him, and the Tigers score on the opening play. 75 yards.
Well, that's how you get championship weekend started for the Clemson Tigers.
Strike up the band.
In the ACC championship. I mean, doomsday. Worst thing that could happen to Pitt as a big underdog is to give up a long touchdown run to Travis Etienne.
His 20th rushing touchdown of the season, extending his Clemson single-season record. It took him 13 seconds. Hugo with the conversion as he exploded around the right end.
The center, Fasanelli, does a good job. He's right in the middle. He'll get a block that pushes it to the outside, and you'll see him cut underneath that. Other than 50 getting that block, it's really just getting a hat on a hat. And then you're talking about maybe one of the most unique running backs in college football. When he gets a crease and he has room to be able to build up that acceleration, it's so tough on the secondary, especially in these conditions on a slippery field, to try to deal with that speed.
He's a Heisman talent, Kirk. He doesn't have a heavy workload, only his 165th carry of the season. Dabo says he's just fine with that. Travis does not seek the spotlight, very humble, modest guy, but the raw talent is just astonishing.
And after the way they played against South Carolina last week, you know that there was a lot of energy at Clemson this week, especially with their defense who's about to come out on the field. They wanted to prove a point today, and they got off to a pretty good start, obviously.
Tigers' longest play of scrimmage season, and the longest that the Panthers have allowed. BT Potter boots it away.
Chris, I always love this. Watch Trevor Lawrence, simple inside zone read. He's 45, 50, 60 yards downfield, trying to find somebody to get in front of to try to pick up a block.
Just don't block in the back, right?
Exactly, but I just love the young freshman leading. The guys will see that in the film room, and they'll really respect the fact he's 50, 60 yards downfield, trying to pick up a block on a safety.
Well, when you win the toss and defer, you run the risk that your offense is going to take the field behind. And here comes Kenny Pickett, the sophomore from Jersey Shore, near Bruce Springsteen's hometown of Asbury Park. Quadri Olison is the back, but they're throwing. In the first play of the game, they try to swing it out wide, and it's incomplete. Rafael Araujo Lopes was covered by Kayvon Wallace.
And Pickett is a quarterback that made his first start last year against the Miami Hurricanes the day after Thanksgiving. Is this year really grown, I think. Things are beginning to slow down like most quarterbacks through a lot of reps. Loves to move outside of the pocket. Athletic guy. And against this Clemson defense, they've got to be able to get him on the edges, especially in obvious passing situations. And tonight he's got to be a very good complement to the running game.
Panthers shift around on 2nd and 10. Here's Olison, and he stopped behind the line. Flying downhill was Isaiah Simmons, and Dexter Lawrence plugged the middle.
Boy, this offense has their hands full. Remember, they are a one-dimensional attack. They like to run. They lean on this offensive line. They have got to do a good job up front. Olison and Hall are their two backs. Max, the most explosive receiver on the outside, 11. And French, you'll see him outside not only in opportunities to catch the ball, also use him a lot in jet sweeps.
3rd and 11. And this predominantly Clemson crowd making noise. Here comes pressure. Pickett trying to survive, and he can't. He is going to be sacked by Dexter Lawrence. What a series for the veteran tackle.
This offensive line lost their leader, Jimmy Morrissey, to center. Dentino has had to move over to center. New left guard. You see Christian Wilkins fighting through that gap. But this is a defense that has a lot of pride. They gave up over 600 yards last week to South Carolina, 510 through the air. They are fired up, and Brent Venables is fired up to get back out on this field.
Kirk Christodoulou, the Aussie punter, has had problems this year in sloppy conditions. From his goal line, delivers a low boot. It's pretty good. It's going to force Amari Rogers to field it on the bounce inside the 35. Rogers picks his way for a short return, but Clemson already up 7, less than 2 minutes in. Back to work with great field position. It's a well-worn path for the Tigers, about 2 hours northeast from their campus. You go over the Liberty Bridge there. You get you a cold pop at the Beacon Drive-In, some barbecue at Granddaddy's. See that water tank that looks like a peach? You can stop off at the water park there just before you hit Charlotte, Kirk. And these fans have made this journey many, many times. Usually going home happy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they tend to go home happy.
Dr. Pepper ACC Football Championship game, 7-0 on the lightning strike by Etienne on the first play. And now they hand it off, spelling him with the veteran. And it's a short game by Feaster. So this Clemson offensive line, Mitch Hyatt, 2nd consecutive year, won the Jacobs Trophy as the best blocker in the ACC.
Yeah, Fafsinelli, a leader there in the middle. What a talented group of receivers. Etienne already the big run. Higgins on the outside. Renfro option routes in the inside along with Rogers.
They fake it to Feaster, and Lawrence is going to loop the ball downfield and drops it perfectly in. But T. Higgins couldn't come up with it on a wet night. Just missed.
That's a perfect throw. Actually, really tight coverage and good coverage by Pitt here in Pinnock. But watch this ball drop right over the shoulder, right into Higgins, who's an outstanding receiver. Usually pulls that in, just could not get control of the ball. And Pitt catches a break there.
Only his 3rd drop all season long, as he said, very short-handed. And now Panthers defense a chance to get off the field. Tigers need 7 on 3rd. No blitz. Lawrence rolls and delivers a short throw, but well short of the marker is Trevion Thompson. 4th down.
That's a huge win for Pitt after giving up that first touchdown. Their goal tonight is try to get the freshman quarterback, as talented as he is, to 3rd down and give him a lot of different looks. That time they showed pressure, came out of it, just kind of sat back in a zone and forced him to get rid of the football, and they're well short of that 1st down.
Senior from Florida, the speedy receiver Rafael Araujo Lopes is the punt returner. Will Spires gets a lot less work as a punter than the Clemson kickoff man gets this season. Just his 50th punt all year. Rolls out, boots it right along the ground, right off the back of one of the cover men, and it just stops dead at the 35. Hit him right in the numbers.
I think that was the snapper that was running downfield.
Yeah. That's a weird line drive from Spires.
Remember, the field conditions are going to cause issues tonight for the specialist.
This is funky.
Yeah. I don't even think I don't even think it had to do with the conditions at all. I think he just hit it, just missed it. Pitt gets good field position here.
Take over at the 39 after the 15-yard punt. And they get the ball to the edge to Darren Hall, part of that talented backfield. They like to use these backs as receivers, but Trey Lamar's out there on the edge making a play.
Well, they're trying to get the ball to the outside because this defensive front is as good as you'll see in college football, led by the leadership of Wilkins. Farrell against the pressure, 99. Trey Lamar and Kendall Joseph in this type of game will make a lot of plays against the run. Very talented group on the back end. They need to step up. Wasn't their best effort last week against South Carolina. Brent Venables talking about some missed assignments and blown assignments. They're going to look to play better tonight.
False start.
There's a false start.
Offense, number 68, 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
There's a 500-yard passing game they gave up to the Gamecocks, and Venables used some strong words, Kirk. He used, quote, asinine, ignorant to describe some of his own adjustments as well as the team's play.
And they gave up some explosive. You're just not used to seeing touchdown plays of 67, 75, 32, 20. Now they won, and Dabo said that. They won big by 3 touchdowns, but the defense, I'm sure, had a pretty hectic and emotional week at the practice field this week to get ready.
Panthers, of course, a much different style of attack than South Carolina. The last thing they want to do, though, is put themselves behind the sticks.
Prior to the snap, delay a game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
So you got a 4-yard loss and then back-to-back 5-yard penalties.
Yeah, they started. I mean, think about getting that opportunity the way this game started. Clemson kind of has a miscue with the punt. Start at your own 40. It's kind of like, all right, got our feet under us now. The game's getting started, and now they have a couple miscues. And with their offensive style, this is not pretty.
Sean Watson calls the plays. They're going to have to hurry again.
Yep.
Often the calls come in late for this team. They break the huddle late, and they have to spend a timeout. So discombobulated sequence for the Panthers as they try to battle back from an early 7-point deficit.
The 2018 Dr. Pepper ACC Football Championship on ABC is brought to you by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. In part by the Ford F-Series, built Ford Tough, built Ford Proud. And Burger King. Get 10 crispy chicken nuggets for just $1, only at Burger King.
Taking in the game tonight is Chris Blewett, the man that kicked that game-winning field goal a couple of years ago in Death Valley. So it was the best kick he ever made. Felt the best off his foot. 48 yards, a virtual walk-off game winner. He's coaching kickers in high school in Virginia now. Man who was his long snapper for that kick, by the way. Pat Quirin said to be a Green Beret training. So the Panthers, after 2 5-yard penalties and a timeout, may have committed a 3rd.
Another penalty.
False start. Offense, number 70, 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
This is
almost the center.
Yeah, this is exactly Pat Narduzzi's worst nightmare. You give up a touchdown on the first play. You're a 4-touchdown underdog. Not many people outside of your own locker room are giving you much of a chance, and to come out of the game give up that touchdown, and the offense having these miscues. Man, this is a tough way to get it started.
Sean Watson calls the plays. Didn't have a big play chart for 2nd and 29. And Darren Hall slammed down by Lawrence, who is eating alive that middle of the Pittsburgh offensive line.
Yeah, he and Christian Wilkins both mentioned how Pitt has had to move around some of the offensive linemen. They've been a real strength of theirs, but with Jimmy Morrissey going out and Connor Dentino moving from left guard to center, Bryce Hargrove now in at left guard. So you think about the left guard and the center playing new positions. It's tough to go up against Wilkins looking and Lawrence looking right across from you, and you're still trying to build that continuity.
3rd and 28, and the Tigers bring some pressure, and Pickett's again scrambling for his life. Hit, ball comes out. It's Wilkins rumbling toward the end zone and knocked out inside the 5. He finds all sorts of ways to make plays.
Well, they brought a blitz this time with Isaiah Simmons. Farrell actually on the other side eventually gets to Pickett, but it's Simmons who knocks the ball loose. Watch Simmons come here on the blitz. Farrell comes around on the edge. That's the pressure. It's just nothing Pitt can do to slow it down. Watch 11 eventually get him on the arm right there. That's what sent the ball up into the air. And then Wilkins, who is a tremendous athlete, as we've seen over these last 4 years, presence of mind to be able to pick it up. And you know how he is. He's thinking goal line. Get me to the end zone right now.
Well, he's found the end zone twice as a running back. The progressive pylon cam shows you what it's like to have a 300-pounder rolling right into your lap there.
Oh,
Let's see if they reward him by sending him out. He's not on the field at the moment, but if they get a little closer to the goal line, bring back Mr. Wilkins. It's Etienne. Long touchdown to open the game. Short touchdown to make it 13-0. And the nightmare start for the big dogs from Pittsburgh continues. Let's double check that he did get across.
Good read there by Lawrence. Good extension, easily in for the touchdown. And Clemson 4 plays and 2 touchdowns and an early 14-0 lead after the extra point.
Panthers down 2 scores and have minus 13 yards in offense and 3 penalties. So Wilkins picks up a little interception as Simmons hits Pickett's arm, rumbles down inside the 5, and Etienne powers in, and Clemson looking very much like the kings of the ACC in the early going, up 2 scores. Taco Bell continuing to celebrate student sections and passionate fans like the Pitt Panthers student section. We keep them believe here. They'll award the best student section of the year. Go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell to see if your team made the rankings and how your school can compete. Travis Etienne, 2 carries, 2 touchdowns. 75-yarder to begin the game and a 2-yard run to cap a very short drive. Officially, it was Wilkins a fumble recovery because Pickett's arm was not going forward. Maurice French, as a flag comes out, returns the ball near the 30, but this has the look of yet another Pittsburgh penalty, Kirk.
Yeah, looks like a hold.
You know, postseason experience, such a huge gap. There's a talent gap, let's be honest.
Holding number 35 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty. First down.
But it's the first kind of postseason game for these Pitt players. The 10th for Clemson, and it's showing. To Matt Berry for an update.
Guys, the Dr. Pepper Championship Drive update. We head to Indianapolis in the Big Ten Championship game. Coming in, Dwayne Haskins led the FBS with 42 touchdown passes. Go ahead and make it 43. Great pocket presence. Terry McLaurin, 16 yards. Buckeyes up early, 7-0. Christian Kirk, back to you.
To expect that Dwayne Haskins would be deserving of an invite to New York for the Heisman Trophy presentation as a finalist. He can come up with another big performance tonight. Quadri Olison, they just cannot get these running backs going. That's the focus of the offense, but the Tigers are ready. Kirk, impact players from Chick-fil-A?
Well, you're right. Olison has got to be able to get things started, and I think one of the ways that they might try is try to get the ball outside to Mack, who's a playmaker. Joseph, we talked about in the lineups, how important of a role he has leading that front to be physical against his running game. And Clem Farrell, who has an outstanding ability with that first step to be able to get by offensive tackles and pressure Pickett tonight.
net 1 yard for the running backs in their first 3 carries. Play action, and Pickett's going to throw over the head of Taysir Mack, the receiver who broke the route off, covered by Terrell.
Yeah, that's just a miscommunication where Mack and Pickett are adjusting. You're thinking about based on the coverage, the route has an adjustment. Mack pulled it back, and I think Pickett saw a certain coverage and thought he might adjust it to go by the defensive back, and obviously not on the same page. Tough start for this Pitt offense.
Couldn't be tougher. Self-inflicted, much of it. Talent on the other side has a whole lot to do with it as well.
Yeah, they're
showing pressure again here. And they bring some. And Pickett, as he's falling down, skips a throw, and there's a flag back near where the quarterback was knocked down.
I don't know what the body slam call is for a tackle grabbing and body slamming a defender, but that's what you have here. Guess it's holding.
That penalty's decline, results of the play.
So it's holding with air quotes. It was more of a tackle.
Yeah, it was more of a WWE takedown. If you can't beat him, just body slam him. 70 on the far left. Farrell, I'll tell you how to take him down. There you go.
In wrestling, that's 2 points, but in football, it's 15 yards, huh?
Farrell's doing work. A couple series in, can barely read the number there on the back.
There's Padulu at his goal line. Rodgers wants to bring this one back into Pitt territory. It's a high boot, and he's going to backpedal and make a fair catch at the 43. Well, winners of the Atlantic Division just keep standing in there and knocking down the challengers from the Coastal. Tar Heels was a close game a few years ago. Hokies battle a couple years ago. And then a shorthanded Miami team. They got dunked early and often. 38-3 was the final here.
Oh, you already got Pitt on the board, huh?
Well, and Lawrence is cocking his arm ready to dunk them. I mean, look, it's there's Clemson, and then there's a big gap. And there's everybody else in this conference. Syracuse, the only other ranked team at the moment from the ACC. Throughout the year, you've had 10 of the 14 ranked at some point. 2 back look. That's Feaster in motion. They flip it to him behind the line of scrimmage. And he's able to fight back for no gain.
Pat Narduzzi made his name at Michigan State as a defensive coordinator and did such an amazing job there with Mark D'Antonio. Had some great teams, built a reputation for quarters coverage. He's trying to make sure his glasses are right, make sure he's seeing this game right. But they have an aggressive mindset now at Pitt. He brought that same philosophy over here, and you know the way this game has started, I think he's got to rely on his defense to try to make a play here by being aggressive.
Play action. Lawrence goes downfield, and the catch is made. Justin Ross, the talented true freshman. Big future for this guy.
Chris, the accuracy of the throw by Trevor Lawrence. Look at this. It's true freshman to true freshman. Throws it away from the defender, over his outside shoulder, where Ross, who's having a monster year as a freshman, goes up and can make a play. Again, good coverage, better throw.
And now a handoff. This is Darian Kendrick, another true freshman. Yeah, the future's pretty bright for this Clemson team.
I mean, Trevor Lawrence, and again, here's the frightening thing. We've had him a few times this year, scratching the surface of where he's eventually going to go. And he wears 16. People talk about Peyton Manning when he was a freshman in Knoxville. This kid, because he's 6'6", 215 pounds, already plays with the maturity of a junior or senior. But the touch, the hands, the athletic ability, and then the poise to go with it. It's just rare. You don't see it.
The throw far side. It's off the hands of his receiver, Ross. Yeah, the game just feels very slow for him. I had a chance to talk to him this week for the first time. Doesn't really get nervous, doesn't carry the butterflies into the game. What a gift that is, too.
Yeah. I think a lot of it goes back to he played at a high school. There's a lot of pressure. He won a lot of football games when he was in high school, and I think he was 52-2 as a starter. It's pretty good.
41 in a row at one point. 41.
But he played it for a program where he felt that pressure, and I think it allowed him to get here. And it's a bigger stage, but it's not any different as far as trying to execute.
Panthers back out, and there's a handoff to Feaster inside, who busts through a tackle and is knocked down inside the 20. Tackle by Stocker.
They go with a counter on 3rd down and 10, where they end up pulling around. See the right guard, 76 Pollard, bring around the big tight end Richard, and surprised Pitt, who was thinking about a pass and trying to get pressure and trying to get after the quarterback, and ended up picking up about 7 yards.
Merely 2 plays in mind before that call, and the offense on the field on 4th and 3. Tigers 9 out of 16 on 4th down this year. Feaster is the back. And a low, uncharacteristically off-target throw by Lawrence behind Kendrick, and the Panthers make a stand.
Well, here he should have waited just a hair. He's eyeing this man right here and seeing where he goes to determine what he's going to do with the football. If he waits just a little bit longer, he can throw this ball into this window instead of here. And I think the placement of that defender affected the accuracy of that football. I think if he waits a beat, that receiver Thompson clears the defender, and it makes it a much easier throw.
Panthers avoid, Kirk, what might have been a first-round knockout if the Tigers had gotten in the end zone there. So Pittsburgh trying to, first of all, avoid penalties, keep their poise, and maybe think about a first down or 2. Jet sweep, they run a lot of them. This is French, and he gets around the end, and Maurice French scoots for the first positive play for Pittsburgh of the evening. As we check back with Matt Berry for an update.
For your DirecTV, more for your college football thing. Back to the Big Ten Championship, and Northwestern answers. John Moten, 77-yard touchdown run. Midway through the first, we're tied at 7 apiece.
Buckeyes defense continues to surrender long scoring plays.
Well, Moten stepping in there.
16 yards for French. French, because he spells it with 2 F's at the front. Darren Hall breaks 3, and he's into the secondary. And all of a sudden, Pittsburgh starting to muscle downfield. Back-to-back big gains inside the 45.
Really good block here by the center, Dentino. Watch him work this way and then climb up to the linebacker. Does a nice job of helping and then climbing, and picks up the linebacker, Trey Lamar. And that's what opened up just enough of a crease there to be able to get these backs some running room. This time it's Hall, who's a little bit quicker than Olesen.
Hall trying to join Olesen over the 1,000-yard mark this season. Became a father in August to a daughter. Very mature, personable young man. He's got it again, but spins for just a short gain. That was Lamar, the middle backer, filling. But tomorrow on ESPN, the exclusive reveal of what fans have been waiting for, the college football playoff matchups, the Capital One Orange Bowl, Goodyear Cotton Bowl on December 29th. I'll join via satellite, you and Reese and the gang. Final top 25 rankings. It's a 4-hour special.
We're going 4 strong tomorrow. You'll be on satellite for a hit or 2, right?
Be up there, South Beach. Malik Carter motions back across, and they hand it to Olesen, who had to sidestep some traffic, but then powers forward for about 3. It'll be 3rd down and 5. Look at how static the rankings have been. No change in the top 3 for the last 4 weeks.
It really took until obviously rivalry weekend last weekend to get a little bit of a shakeup and some upsets. And today we had some games that had us sitting on the edge of our seat. That Alabama-Georgia game was about as good as you could hope for with the drama.
Talk more about the big picture as the evening unfolds. Panthers need 5 on 3rd down. Olesen hits a gap and still running. Bangs down inside the 20 as you get a glimpse of what these Pitt runners can do.
And that's a nice job again. I want to go back to the offensive line because they're getting this defensive line. They're getting movement. Once you get them moving sideways in this zone blocking scheme, these backs do a good job of being able to eventually cut that back right there. And it takes a special back with very good vision and good acceleration at 225 pounds to be able to do that.
Look out, because Brent Venables has spent a timeout on defense, and his guys may be in for a tongue lashing. The Panthers have ripped off gains of 16, 20, and 21 yards to threaten for the first time. You got to get ESPN Plus. You can start your free trial today by downloading the ESPN app or visiting ESPNplus.com for the coverage of all the bowls and the postseason. Plus ESPN originals like 30 for 30, E60. Pittsburgh 5 rushes for 62 yards on this drive. They're down in the red zone. First down after Clemson's defensive timeout. On the jet sweep. Here's the speedy freshman. Malik Carter had never been seen on the field, Kirk, until he popped into the Duke game with a number they had not worn before. Ran for 137 in the game.
Well, he's got such speed. He's one of those guys you just want to get on the field, and he and French give them a dimension. I just love the play call. I think Sean Watson floats that out there once in a while to let Clemson know you better not crowd down on our inside zone game. You're going to keep stretching you out wide to keep you outside, to have to respect the outside stretch in the zone, in the jet sweep, and that opens up some inside running lanes.
Olison. Excellent pursuit. That was Terrell setting the edge, and Lawrence who caught up to him.
And the defensive backs in this game have got to do a good job of being in run support. Terrell did that very thing. He kind of set the edge there as a corner, let the rest of the defense eventually be able to run in. Mullen one on one side and Terrell on the other. They're very good cover corners, but Brent Venables this week needs him to be involved in the run.
So after that timeout, Clemson's defense 2 productive plays for no gain, and the Panthers need 10 on third. Pickett has a clean pocket for the end zone. Overshot Arujo Lopes, and it's 4th down as the quarterback got knocked down.
Yeah, he had Arujo Lopes against a bigger nickelback, Isaiah Simmons, who's listed at about 230. Arujo Lopes has great quickness, undersized in the slot, but there's Wilkins once again, just as Pickett gets rid of the ball, making the quarterback be aware of his presence.
Alex Kessman is a sophomore, 10 for 13 on field goals. Had a couple of misses in the tight loss at Notre Dame, but has been pretty clutch in other moments this season. He's got a long distance leg, somewhat less steady inside of 40 yards. This from 37, sliding, but he knocks it through. So Pittsburgh on the board after a 62-yard, 9-play drive, 14-3.
Before the trip, Jessica sent 22 texts to find a swim instructor to help Manny overcome his fear. Their GPS took them to places out of a storybook, and they called Grandma when Manny felt sad about not being able to swim. Overall, they shared 176 pictures, but when the moment came, they held their breath and watched their son learn to believe in himself.
You guys had lightning up in Atlanta for game day. It's been rainy all day here in Charlotte, but this is an improved forecast. Actually looks, after 9 p.m., less than a 50% chance. I don't see any lightning bolts on there. The initial forecast had some lightning perhaps arriving in the second half of this game. That stays away. Now, something positive for Pitt, Kirk. They're on the board after their defense got that 4th down stop. And now Lawrence and company back to work. It's a 4 for 7 start. 30 yards for the sophomore.
Yeah, I think part of the reason he feels so comfortable is his offensive line has been keeping him clean the last 5 games. 1 sack, which I think gives him a lot of confidence. But how about his rhythm that he is in right now, and typically is in? Pitt covering and man coverage, covering these receivers, especially the outside receivers, pretty well. But he is throwing some very good downfield throws to give those receivers, Ross and Higgins, a chance.
They love to keep the backs fresh, and Adam Choice, who comes off a 3-touchdown performance against the Gamecocks, is now in the game, and he's got the football as the Panthers claw up the middle, just a yard.
Much like the Michigan State days of Pat Narduzzi, his linebackers don't hesitate. They are coming downhill at the snap of the ball, and they don't hide that. They're an aggressive group. That tradition carries on now with these linebackers, and Clemson will try to take advantage of that aggressive approach with some play-action passes behind them.
Choice in the pistol, but Lawrence fakes it and keeps it. That ball is deflected. Rashad Weaver is an excellent defensive end. He's got great quickness.
Yeah, he really does. It's 6'5", 260. I think he's I think maybe one of his best attributes when he can't get to the quarterback is just his athletic ability and timing. Looking at film this week, you and I both have seen his ability. Can't get to the quarterback, does a good job of getting up into the air and knocking it down. And remember, Lawrence is 6'6" himself.
Panthers have bookend defensive ends, Weaver and Dwayne Hendricks. Between them, 9.5 sacks. One of the strengths of this defense. Clemson needs 8 on 3rd down. They come after Lawrence. He gets it out. Long throw. Almost intercepted. That was Dane Jackson, the corner, who jumped in front of Rodgers.
Well, that is a long throw from the right hash all the way to the left sideline. And Jones, 91, watch him get in there and get into the face just enough to affect, I think, him being able to follow through and get velocity on that throw, because it's such a long throw out to Rodgers. Dane Jackson, who's their best cover corner, almost jumped in front of that. He would have walked to the end zone.
Trevor's got a lot of confidence in his arm, but he took a peek over there. I think he knew that might be trouble. Spires with a high punt. This time he avoids hitting the back of someone on the cover team, and the fair catch is made. Kickoff NFL Week 13, Sunday NFL Countdown. Tomorrow morning on ESPN. Aaron Rodgers and the former Panther Larry Fitzgerald are going to square up. You can hear the story of how their friendship took him to Africa to give those with hearing loss the gift of sound on ESPN and the ESPN app tomorrow morning. So things looking up for Pittsburgh after the rockiest of starts. Touchdown by Clemson on the game's first play. Fumble recovery by Wilkins, setting up another ETN run. But now Pittsburgh beginning to get their footing on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, they had 9 plays and 62 yards their last drive, and they got that running game going.
Pickett looking to throw on play action, rolls out and has to throw it away. And he still got knocked down over there.
Well, you're seeing what they're trying to do. We all know they want to run the inside zone and run the ball with these talented backs in this offensive line. But you have to do something to complement that and make Clemson not just load up against that run. And their ideas are jet sweep, getting the ball around, and then play action bootlegs and nakeds to try to get the athletic Pickett on the corner and try to keep Clemson respecting the edge of this offense and how they're attacking.
It's a rough start, Kirk, for Pickett. 1 of 6. That was a completion for a loss of 4 yards to Hall. There's a second down handoff to Hall. And it'll be another 3rd and long. Wilkins involved in the tackle.
When you go up against this kind of attack for Wilkins, it's not just about the flash plays, being able to penetrate, get in the backfield and rush the quarterback. Tonight it's about trying to eat up 2 linemen at a time and freeing up the linebackers to be able to allow them to make plays against this run.
Wilkins playing in his 57th game at Clemson. That ties the school record, along with Chad Deal, a fullback who played 07 to 11. You get to the championship game, you could play in 59 college games. Final seconds of the first quarter on 3rd and 9. Pickett flushed again. He's a good runner. Can he get there? Takes a shot. Knocked out by Terrell, but they do move the sticks, and that gets the Panther bench fired up.
Boy, that is a heck of an effort. Trey Lamar came through on the blitz up the middle. He's trying as hard as he can. He picks up a block there behind him, and then a major collision. And I think Pickett ended up getting the better end of that against A.J. Terrell.
He put his helmet on the defender's helmet.
Sure
End of the first quarter in Charlotte. Back after this message and a word from your local ABC station.
The massive 82-inch Samsung QLED TV. You can't look away.
Set for the second quarter. Clemson up 14-3. The 2018 Dr. Pepper ACC Football Championship game. After the conversion by Pickett, Panthers on the march. And there's the speedy Carter we talked about. Does anybody in college football use the jet sweep more than they do?
No. And I think one thing that's great about it, here's a physical hit. And you brought up a good question at the break with Dave Kataya about targeting. Is it ever called on the offense?
Yeah, Dave, doesn't the rule allow for it? You never see it called, but it's Pickett who delivers the helmet-to-helmet blow there.
I've never seen it called, but the runner's under the same restrictions as anybody else. But he's more lowering his head to protect himself rather than launching. Very difficult to be called on the runner.
And we're not advocating a flag there. You just was targeting initiated by the quarterback, and after that gain, it's 2nd and 1. This is more like it for Pittsburgh. And a whistle.
Oh, they got looked like the left side of the offense. Maybe the fullback 35
Ball
moved.
start, offense, number 35, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's a good spot. That's George Aston, the athletic fullback, converted linebacker out of Iowa.
Basically, if you want to follow the football when Pittsburgh runs the ball, follow 35 because he's typically going to lead you to the ball because he's going to pick up somebody and block him.
Yeah, he's out of Virginia actually, but he's a huge part of the running game. He actually caught a couple touchdown passes against Clemson in that big center 2 years ago. So he's an occasional receiver as well, but the 5-yard penalty makes it 2nd and 6.
Another miscue for this Pitt offense.
And they overcome it. Pickett rolls and delivers, and that's a catch made by Carter in heavy traffic, covered by Simmons. It'll be 3rd and 4.
That's a heck of an effort for a 2-yard gain. I mean, that was almost picked by Simmons. Ball is thrown behind. Levin gets his hands on it. Pretty good concentration there by Carter to somehow bring that in.
You've mentioned Simmons' name a couple times. He had a very rough game against South Carolina. He was one of the guys who felt responsible for allowing those big plays. He looks inspired tonight, Kirk.
Yeah, he sure does. And again, you can imagine the week of practice they had and how anxious they've been to get back out here.
Need 4. Pickett steps up. Can he escape? And the gap closed down quickly. Cleveland Farrell and Wilkins corral him. It's 4th down.
You know, Austin Bryant, you think of it as a pass rusher. He's showing it, and then he drops kind of a zone pressure look where they drop the defensive end. What I like is they have eyes on the quarterback for the potential scramble. 3 different guys. Farrell's there, Bryant's there, so they drop their ends, bring the 2 inside linebackers. Again, a different wrinkle for that Pitt offense there on 3rd down to affect their pass protection.
What do you think, Kirk? Narduzzi choosing to punt from the Clemson 44. Christodoulou almost dropped the snap, able to get it away, and it's going to pay off.
I think it's a good call.
Okay. Well, we'll see if they can force a punt from down there. Good work by the special teams. Tigers pin back at the 1. 15 schools all on one network. A new place to call home. The ACC network coming August 22nd, 2019. And the first football game scheduled on that network, Clemson and Georgia Tech on August 29th. Clemson filling the coaching vacancy. Paul Johnson invited to retire. And they are looking at candidates which perhaps include a couple of Clemson coordinators, Tony Elliott and Brent Venables. Tigers from inside the 1. Give it to Etienne. And Etienne, who averaged about 38 yards in his first 2 carries, muscles out across the 5.
Clemson trying to get that rhythm back that they had in the first couple possessions when things were happening so easy for them. A couple touchdowns, and then they've had a couple punts in their last 2 possessions. Good way to start there. Pinned back deep inside the 1 with a nice gain there on 1st down.
Etienne again, knocked down. You see Dabo Swinney with the play chart. I'll tell you, he does get involved in the play calls along with Elliott and Jeff Scott, who's also a fine offensive mind. But Dabo, not a CEO in that respect. He's involved in the play calling.
Yeah, and Etienne looks like he's coming off a little gingerly there after that last run there on the sideline. And you're right, Dabo's hands-on with it with the offense, and he's had coordinators come and go, and Tony Elliott and Jeff Scott doing such a great job after Chad Morris left to take a head job at SMU, of course, now at Arkansas.
Feaster replacing Etienne on 3rd and 5. Lawrence from the end zone. Lofts it downfield for Ross over the head. He's looking for a flag against Pinnock. There isn't one.
I like that they're letting them play. You know, I have no problem with it at all. I know if you're a Clemson fan, you're not going to like how physical this is, but I have no issue at all. Pinnock doing his best to look back for the football and pushing back and forth, and Dabo, of course, wants to call.
So the decision by Narduzzi not to go for it inside the Clemson 40, punts it down there. Looks like a pretty smart one, as Spires will be backed up against the end line for this punt. And Arujo Lopes is set up in Clemson territory to receive the punt. Another 3 and out for this high-powered offense after 2 quick scores. Low snap. Spires fields it on the bounce. Does a great job to avoid a safety. It's a low boot that's going to roll dead at about the 39, but that could have been big trouble on a sloppy night.
Yeah, they've had some issues with their punt game tonight. This time it's the snap. Spires one time just mishit it. This time does a nice job on the short hop, almost like a shortstop.
His dad is a great baseball player.
Yeah,
Spires.
You can tell he worked on it when he was younger because he does a really good job of staying down on the ball.
Not putting the knee down.
And then not panicking. He's able to get that ball off. But Pitt does get the ball in plus territory right about at the 39-yard line to start this drive. What looked like maybe a blowout early, and all of a sudden Pitt has settled into the game.
They've been on the ropes from the opening play, but a chance to cut into this lead here. Almost feels like they need to. Carter on the end around looking for blocks, but the young guy knocked down by Lamar after about a 3-yard gain.
Again, I'd really like to see this a big part of this offense, and it's get some 3 yards here, but it makes the safeties and the linebackers have their eyes on the possible threat of that jet sweep. And all of a sudden you start to fake it and you give it up the middle. That's how they try to offset their offense and try to slow defenses from just loading up against Olesen and Hall.
It's Olesen in the I formation. He's got it. Again, has to sidestep quick penetration in the backfield. That was Kendall Joseph and a short gain.
Yeah, when you can't throw the football consistently, they're 120th in the nation in passing offense. When you can't make people pay for loading up against your running game, you got to find other ways to try to make them pay for it. And for this offense, that's where the jet sweep and quick bootlegs try to complement that run game. It's a big third down.
Panthers just 2 for 7. Pickett delivers a low throw. Arujo Lopes makes the catch. It's right near the marker, but it's enough for a first down.
Yep, 3rd and 6. Arujo Lopes does a good job with a soft coverage there by Muse. He was lined up about 8 yards off the ball. Pickett saw that before the ball was snapped, located it, threw it down away from Tanner Muse, and gave the receiver a chance to make that play.
Arujo Lopes is the old man in the receivers room, the only senior, leader, graduate, excellent student. Made a clutch catch there. Olesen gets to the edge, stiff arm against Simmons, down the sidelines, dives. Where will they mark him? No signal yet. Touchdown. They finally say he got in. And the Panthers strike back.
You talked about how Isaiah Simmons didn't have a great game. Watch him come out here and try to make this play one-on-one. Gets the stiff arm. There's the physical part of Olesen. And then, it looked like he may have stepped out of bounds there, but the receivers do a good job blocking downfield. They're going to definitely take a peek at that one. There he is. He's out of bounds there.
He is under further review.
Yeah, no question about it. Got close with that step, and then that one clearly out of about the 2-yard line.
But Olesen gives you an example there of how physical of a runner he is. Stiff arm, gets him down the sideline. The progressive pylon cam shows him step out of bounds just short of the goal line. But Pitt starting to get their style of offense going here.
Clearly out. They're marching right toward the band, which is up. The student section's going crazy. Let's face it, you come in here as a 4-touchdown underdog. ETN with a lightning strike in the opening play. You down 14-0 like that, and they have clawed back in. Now, got to punch it in here. When they spot the ball, it'll be at about the 2-yard line, but this is impressive. This is a resilient team. They've been like that all year.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people saw their game last week against Miami and thought, oh my gosh, they're 7-5. They're going in to play Clemson.
I was one of them.
Of course. I think a lot of people thought that.
The runner stepped out of bounds at the 2-yard line. 1st and goal from the 2.
But I think when you get close to the program the way we have this week, you understand that this team's been doubted all year, and it kind of plays to their mantra. They're a blue-collar bunch. They like to feel disrespected, and this is a big series to see if they can get the points up on the board. You get it to 4 points, you start to all of a sudden come to the sidelines and you start to believe.
This will be a good battle here. Clemson's defensive front, you know about them. Olesen is a very tough back to stop and shoot yardage, but it's Hall who's in. It's Hall who's got it. And a flag is down again at the line of scrimmage. That's about the last thing the Panthers need.
I think Clemson has 12 or 13 players on the field.
Substitution, defense. Half the distance to the goal.
They had a lot of guys running on and off the field, and of course Dabo's frustrated with Brent Venables about communication. Look at all the different bodies, and they're still look how many guys there. Trayvon Mullen's counting. He's trying to figure out how many are out here. He's running off of the field, but
if you can have 12 or 13, it makes for a much more effective goal line defense.
Yeah. But that's frustration right there.
First and goal. Big Shane Roy as a defensive lineman. He's mingling around in there. Olesen, he is tough to stop down there, but the Tigers stand him up. That was a strong tackle by Tanner Muse.
Tanner Muse led the way there. Dexter Lawrence came around, helped out. As you said, Chris, this is a tough defense down inside near the goal line to try to punch it in between the tackles. Tanner Muse, there's big Dexter Lawrence helping out. J.D. Davis, that ball is on the 6-inch line.
Olesen goes 225, and I think he runs even bigger than that. You put a 240-pound fullback in front of him. Dives, airborne for the touchdown. Let's take another look at the Progressive Pylon game. He didn't have the football now, but he appeared to break the plane.
Watch 35 lead the way, always does. Boom, great block right there. Gives him enough room to go up into the air, breaks the plane. The Progressive Pylon cam shows that he is into the end zone. That's a big fella getting up in the air, going over Christian Wilkins there.
Olesen, 11th rushing touchdown. The senior out of Niagara Falls. Very interesting guy. We'll talk more about him. He's a guy of deep faith, a wise soul for someone his age, and a heck of a running back. Kessman and the Panthers in a very ugly low conversion. Hey, it counts. Have clawed back. Suddenly it's 14-10 in Charlotte.
The 2018 Dr. Pepper ACC Football Championship on ABC is brought to you by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. In part by Pacific Life. Experience the power of Pacific. And Porsche, the new Porsche Cayenne, the world's most shareable sports car.
Clemson heavily favored to make it 4 in a row, but only up by 4. Dabo Swinney a word with Trevor Lawrence. Pittsburgh showing good resolve. And the Tigers' offense is stagnant after the 2 ETN touchdown runs. Lawrence has missed 5 passes in a row, and the Tigers have yet to convert on 3rd down tonight, Kurt. 0 for 4. As you said, there's a spark and some emotion from this Panther team. Olesen, who lost his brother, he was shot dead in the middle of last season, Maria. And I thought in a letter he shared with us, his response to that was just extraordinary.
Well, you're right, Chris. And Quadri found out about his brother's death moments after he played in the NC State game just a season ago. And what he wanted to express to his family as he wrote a statement that would be read to the judge the first day at camp, he said, "I have the choice to not hate you, and I choose not to. I hate what you did, most certainly, but I still think your life is just as precious as the next person's. No life means more than the others. None of us are perfect." And he wanted to speak forgiveness into that courtroom. And Olsen actually went to school with the killer. He had classes with him, and his brother, LaRon Harris, was one of his best friends. He always wanted to be just like him, but he said his family has closure coming into this season, and that's been important.
Sure was. And now ETN breaks free as he again is sparking this Clemson offense. He's deep into Pittsburgh territory. His second huge run. Hamlin drove him out.
If you go back in the backfield, he's tackled. He's tackled by Idowu. 23 has him, 44 Reynolds. He's wrapped up. This is the difference with ETN this year. He's able to pull out of those tackles and able to get away downfield with that speed. But it started with the physicality where 2 guys had him for a short loss.
So there's a Panther down. That's the corner there, Pinnock. So Maria, circling back to that Olesen story, I know you were quite taken, by him as a young man as well.
Yeah, because he went back and forth on whether or not he would even write a letter. But he writes all the time. He's a little bit of a poet, and he likes to express himself through words. And he says that's kind of how he got through losing his brother. I mean, LeBron meant everything to him. He still writes on his cleats a message to his brother every single game. He'll write his hometown on one cleat and the message to his brother on the other. Sometimes it says, "Fly high, big bro." And sometimes it says, "I'm doing this for you." And at the end of the day, he's a spark for this team. You can recognize it on the sideline when I walk by, but you would never know he's been through the tragedy that he's had to deal with in his young life.
So close to his running mate, Darren Hall. They came into Pitt together, competing against each other, very supportive of each other. It's a powerful brotherhood they have. Meanwhile, Clemson's running back has set the Tigers up at the 30. It's now Feaster in the game, and he's got space. He's got about 7 or 8. Still fighting. You're the marker now.
Just want to real quick just go back to what Maria was just talking about with Olesen. I don't know if I've ever heard of a young man at his age have that kind of maturity, that kind of strength to be able to send that kind of message to somebody who took his own brother's life. It's a great statement on what kind of person he is.
As you said, his deep faith is a big reason for that. Slamming forward for a first down is Etienne.
Especially in the society we live in today, everybody seems to be divided and being separated, and what a just a light in the middle of a lot of darkness. Love to hear that.
Yeah, well said. Driving rain now as the Tigers drive, trying to extend this lead, and Lawrence, after a delay, hands off to Etienne, breaks 4 tackles. Wow.
I'm telling you, man, he is such a different back. I mean, last year it was more about he burst onto the scene as a freshman, and he was fast, and we all marveled at this young guy out of Louisiana. Man, he spent some time in that weight room. His lower body allows him to run through those arm tackles, and we already saw the big run earlier on this drive, and this one also. Instead of a short loss, they're in 2nd and 7.
Feaster knocked down inside the 10. Etienne being looked at over there. They're stretching that leg out. He's run it 7 times for 135 yards, averaging more than 19 per carry so far. Dabo loves the philosophy of rotating carries, keeping guys fresh, keeping them hungry, keeping them practicing hard. Feaster behind the quarterback on 3rd and 3. And it's 1st and goal.
About that. I mean, an embarrassment of riches. Etienne checks out. Tavian Feaster comes in. They have Adam Choice. Feaster showing you that he can run and lower his pads on a crucial 3rd down and short. Now Clemson cranking up a little bit of tempo.
They bring in Choice, the 220-pounder, the only senior among the running backs. Lawrence, end zone, caught. Touchdown, T. Higgins went up, got the ball, and they say got the foot down. Let's make sure.
6'4", one-on-one. They've been tight coverage this entire drive. Gotta love that oh yeah, nice job with the left foot getting down, has possession of the football, goes over Pinnock, and we've been seeing that connection all year long. From the freshman Lawrence, they get down to the red zone, they love to throw the football to T. Higgins when he's matched up one-on-one. And the progressive pylon cam shows he catches it and gets the left foot down.
9th touchdown reception for the leading receiver in this crew. Only one football. So much talent to spread around. Hugel makes it an 11-point Clemson lead as they answer the 7-play, 75-yard drive. Let's get out of the Bear Den, the undisclosed location where Chris Felica has tonight's Aflac Game Fact.
Hey, you guys touched on it earlier in this evening, but The Atlantic Division has won 7 straight ACC championship games. The last team from the Coastal to win, 2010 Virginia Tech, and that certainly lends credence to the conversations of maybe scrapping divisions and just taking the 2 best teams a la Big 12 style. That was a great game in Arlington today.
Are you trying to rewrite the rules here?
Bears
I try to do anything I can.
Bears a rascal on game day, right? Getting into it. And Saturday night, he's just kind of
a little punchy right now.
Just kind of hanging
Gets in the den, gets the mood lighting, and
mood
delivers the
lighting,
facts.
chilling out Saturday night.
French with a chance. And that's good coverage. Hits Simmons down there, slamming him down short of the 20-yard line. Take a break. Pittsburgh back to work, but again down 11. Halftime, the always popular Dr. Pepper tuition giveaway. Someone's going to win $100,000 in tuition from Dr. Pepper. Herb Street advocates the chest pass method. And you try to get.
No, are you kidding me? That's weak.
You got to throw the football properly.
Yes.
Okay.
They should. That's a bad look. They should force him.
Hey, $100,000. However. I don't care what. Hey, Pittsburgh somehow has clawed back in this. They're still singing Sweet Caroline, but the Panthers offense ready to go to work here from the 19.
When in doubt, Sweet Caroline.
It's a keeper, first of the night, as Pickett falls forward for 2.
Pickett, athletic quarterback, 6'2", 220. Part of his background is, you see the players kind of jawing back and forth. Austin Bryant talking to the Pitt offensive lineman. But Pickett is not, you're right, Chris, we've not seen him run the ball tonight at all. I thought we might see a little bit more of that part of their plan.
It's been a scramble for a first down, but there's a design runs. Yeah, you're right. And the second keeper. And Farrell was there quickly. It'll be 3rd and long.
He's reading Clean Farrell here, and he misreads this. Right here, I think he felt that he was going out, but he actually comes down. Watch the body language in 99. Looks like he gives him a little bit of an outside look, which made him pull the ball, and then by keeping it, Farrell's there to make the play. By the way, Clemson had both guys taken. Simmons had the back, and Farrell had the quarterback. That play had no chance.
Leland says not tonight. ACC Defensive Player of the Year got the vote over his buddy Wilkins. 3rd and 8. Pickett moves the pocket, tries to get the edge, and fires low and incomplete. It was French on a crossing route, 4th down.
Yeah, not surprising. They move him out, move the launch point on 3rd down and long. Problem is when you move out like that, obviously you're condensing your options in the field to half the field, and you don't have very many receivers out there. Made it easy for Clemson to take the receivers out.
And Clemson 3 minutes and 23 seconds to work with before halftime to try to add to this lead. Christodoulou just needs to focus on handling this snap in the wet conditions and getting the punt off. It's a good kick. And no fair catch. Rodgers driven back, slung down. A flag. A couple of them coming in. There's a skirmish. 2 flag, and now some tempers flaring, and there's a scuffle breaking out near midfield. That's Olesen, who's involved in the punt coverage team, getting into it with, I believe it was Kayvon Wallace for the Tigers. A couple of flags to sort out. Jeff Heiser.
Receiving team number 10. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. 1st down.
So it was 2 different flags in different parts of the field for the same penalty. Well, Clemson came out and with the electric start. Travis Etienne, they got the football first as Pitt elected to defer, and Etienne's in the end zone in 13 seconds. And quickly it's 14-0. I think we expected, let's be honest, a very one-sided game. The Panthers have showed some grit here, but got to get a stop here.
Yeah, and Pitt right now is 5 yards passing. If they're going to realistically stay around for 60 minutes, they're going to need something from their passing game. And right now it's been all about them trying to run the ball with a jet sweep and the inside power run game.
Rick, we got 40 total passing yards in the game because Lawrence has just 35 of them, but the running game has been strong. This is Choice barreling forward.
And I really think that's the difference this year with Clemson. I mean, in the last few years, they've needed to be able to throw the football, and I think they're better up front with the offensive line. I think they're better with the running backs. And I also think because Lawrence can throw the ball downfield, has that threat, I think their running game is something they can really rely on.
They rely on it again, and Choice, heavy traffic, falls forward. Hunter Renfrow doesn't have a catch tonight. He's had one in 40 consecutive games. Higgins has just the one catch.
They'll eventually get to the pass game just when you think, boy, what's going on here? They only have 35 yards passing. Blink of an eye, they hit some one-on-one matchups, and just like that, they'll hit a 75 and 80-yard touchdown. And Pitt, they play tight coverage. They leave corners on islands, and it's a lot of 50-50 balls out there.
Clemson on the last possession finally got their first third down conversion. 1 of 5, needing 2, and Etienne will get it easily now near the 30.
You pick up this first down on third down, and because it's been so run heavy, they get a new set of downs. This is where I think you might see Tony Elliott and Jeff Scott try to find a one-on-one matchup. They're going to go trips here to the bottom with these 3 receivers.
Etienne, that time the Panthers smother him. Minute 43 and counting before the Capital One halftime report. Kevin Negandhi, Jonathan Vilma, and Jim Mora. They'll have scores and highlights. Our buddy Mac Brown, a part of that show for so long. We congratulate him as he returns to North Carolina as the new head coach.
Yeah, wish him the best of luck. Big opportunity for him to go back to Chapel Hill, and welcome Jim Mora into the studio. Doing a great job this year coming off of coaching and into TV.
And it's Higgins who can't come up with it. Pinnock, it's been a good battle on the edge, but T feels like he should have had that one.
Yeah, and this is a good matchup just because it's one-on-one, and Pinnock does a good job. I mean, there's a big height advantage there with Higgins, but Pinnock gets up, and you saw the left hand get around without interfering Higgins and knock the ball away.
These 2 starting corners have sometimes been picked on, Kirk. They've allowed 7 touchdowns between them, only had 2 interceptions. They've held up well tonight.
Sure have.
Choice is the back on 3rd and 9. Panthers only rush 3. And Lawrence delivers a strike on the sideline. That's Trevion Thompson, but he's not going to get first down yardage. He's short by about 1.5 yards.
Good job by Thompson working in the scramble, working back to his quarterback. The problem is a little bit more awareness on where the first down marker is. So as he's working back, he has to have an idea of where he's trying to get, and he has to at least be at that first down marker, especially catching the ball right next to the sideline and going out of bounds.
So Spires is on. Last punt snap was short hopped in the end zone. He's averaging just 28.3 at a 15-yard punt. He had one go off the back of one of the long snapper earlier, so it's not been automatic for the punting game here. And the Panthers are going to get the ball to start the second half. They got 1:11 and 1 timeout to work with.
I was just going to say, depending on what their strategy is here at the end of this half, it's not like they have a prolific passing attack, but a little miscommunication. They got to use it instead of having 2 timeouts to start this drive. Now they're down to 1, but maybe they're content and they're just going to work the clock and get out of here and get out of the half.
If you're Pat Narduzzi, do you try to get something knowing you're going to get the football back in the third quarter?
Yeah, I think you at least try on the first play to see how that first play goes. Also depends on how this punt goes to see what kind of field position you have. You don't want to be careless, with 1:11 to go, but if they get a shot, maybe if it's decent starting field position. Again, they don't have a great passing game.
That's a nice punt, driven way over the head of Arujo Lopes, and it rolls all the way to the end zone. So a 63-yard punt and a touchback. All-State bus here in Charlotte. Relatively short trip for Curtis. What's the mayhem moment brought to you by All-State today?
We've been doing this all year with All-State. The mayhem moment had to be Jalen Hurts coming into this football game and winning the game. Such an incredible effort all year by. Think about what Jalen has had to go through, sitting kind of on the back burner. Tua's been the star. He goes down with an injury. Jalen steps in and comes back and leads his team to a SEC championship. and that #1 spot more than likely, obviously, in the playoff.
Saban saying in his post-game comments, Kirk, that Tagovailoa's injury is not apparently serious. It's an ankle sprain. That's good news. Should be okay for the playoff. Pickett scrambling, no dive. Or no slide, I should say, a dive for a first down across the 30.
He kind of set the defense up to make them think it looked like he was going to go down, and it looked like the safety, Nolan Turner, thought he was just going to slide, and he ended up going right around him. Stopped the clock with a first down.
You mentioned they just had that one timeout because they had to spend one, and now it's batted in the air, and it falls to the turf. Dangerous.
I'm telling you, you got to be careful, especially with just that one timeout. This defense thrives on getting their hands up and putting pressure on a quarterback, and Pickett is still growing in confidence and sitting in that pocket and throwing. The ball gets tipped like that, it's very easily intercepted.
Well, Pickett has gone 142 pass attempts without an interception, has not thrown one since the first half of the Syracuse game. That's half a season. But I get your point. It's dangerous play, and we'll see how adventurous they get now with 44 seconds to go until half. And that's a downfield shot. Again, the receiver either the slip or break the route off. That was Mack.
It was the same thing we saw in the first quarter, where the quarterback thought he read the coverage and a route adjustment with tight coverage. He's going to continue downfield on a fade, and instead Mack pulls back thinking he can run kind of an underneath route on a hitch. Second time in this first half we've seen Pickett and Mack not quite on the same page.
Talking about a pass defense that gave up more than 500 yards last week to South Carolina. Pittsburgh has 5. 3 for 11 now for Pickett. On 3rd and 10. In traffic, and it's going to be picked off by Terrell. Terrell looking for the sideline. And knocked out inside the 10. There is the first pick in half a season, and it's costly.
Just said that you have a quarterback in Pickett who's still growing and trying to get comfortable from the pocket against this defense that likes to confuse a quarterback. You can almost feel how uncomfortable he was sitting in that pocket, unsure of his read, and just simply throwing it out into the flat where Terrell ends up making the play. That ball's floating out there. I'm just surprised Pitt decided to I like him being aggressive, but sitting in the pocket, making reads, and throwing the football against this defense is a tough thing to do for even a seasoned quarterback.
Those two have had a couple collisions tonight. Remember earlier on the run, and it was 8 versus 8 collision. Pickett helping on the tackle. Talked to him yesterday, Kirk. He is a little bit risk averse. He talks about being a game manager, making the smart choices, not hurting his team. He thought he might have to take some more risks tonight. That one did not pay off. Now the Tigers trying to add to the lead. Lawrence for the end zone, just like that. They make the Panthers pay. Higgins for the second time tonight.
I put the little marker on Higgins because if I'm a quarterback and I got 29 seconds to go and I see one-on-one coverage with my guy, I'm going to go to it all day. Nice job of reading it. It's an RPO. The safety came up and made it an easy throw for Trevor Lawrence to T. Higgins.
So Higgins, 2 catches, both touchdowns. And that is a devastating blow for a Panther team that quickly fell down 14, got back within 4, but the turnover sets up the touchdown, and the lead is 18.
This is the read right here. It's a little blurry because of the conditions, but that's who he's looking at. Once he comes up here, that's going to tell him he's got this slant behind it. You see it all the time in college football. Defenses are put in a tough spot. They're kind of in conflict. Do you come up against the run look? Quarterback could pull the ball out and throw it, or do you sit back and let him run the ball? Here, the defender said, I'm coming up against this great running game. Lawrence felt it, read it. You can see his eyes on the defender, and then makes the simple throw to T. Higgins, nice and high, where he can make the play.
14 points off the 2 Pittsburgh turnovers. Tigers have had 3 one-play touchdown drives. 2 short and 1 long.
All because Pitt got aggressive.
You suggested it might be the prudent thing after that one pass was tipped at the line.
That's good.
Just run the ball, go to halftime.
Or roll out. Run the ball or roll out. I didn't like him sitting in that pocket.
Line drive kick is fielded by French. Knocked down across the 25, 18 seconds left. Let's take a look at the college football playoff rankings brought to you by AT&T, and there'll be several talking points. Bama with the come-from-behind victory. No matter how emphatic this is tonight, do you believe the committee will keep Alabama with the #1 seed?
Yes, I do.
Notre Dame sitting there at 3, of course, certainly believes that their 12-0 record is good enough, and then the conversation will be about that 4th spot. Georgia, Oklahoma, Ohio State, and the Buckeyes with a lead over Northwestern as they go to halftime.
See, I don't think it's about the force. I guess it is. For me, Georgia moves to 3, so that's going to upset everybody, but I'm sorry. I don't think Georgia's out. I think they move up. If they're going to move at all, they're going to move up, and I think Notre Dame will move down to 4. So I think it's Bama, Clemson, Georgia, Notre Dame, leaving Oklahoma and Ohio State out of the four.
That would make some history. A 2-loss team hasn't made it in. A 2-loss non-champion over potentially 2 1-loss conference champions.
Right.
Ohio State.
I guess I don't get caught up in champions. I get caught up in best. The best 4. I don't really follow the rest of that stuff.
We'll have a chance, I suspect, after halftime to continue this conversation.
I think we will.
Flesh out those opinions.
Yeah.
As Clemson scores very early and very late in this half and leads by 18, closing in on a 4th consecutive ACC championship. That's the first half, the Capital One halftime report right after these messages, including the Dr. Pepper tuition giveaway.
Welcome back to Dr. Pepper Championship Week.
Set for the second half here in Charlotte, the Dr. Pepper ACC football championship game. For the Dr. Pepper Championship Week, as the Clemson Tigers 30 minutes away from a 4th straight ACC crown, punching their ticket to the college football playoff. 18-point lead. Pittsburgh will get the ball to start the second half, Kirk. And, you don't have a potent passing game. We've established that. But you get the ball first. You got to find ways, if you can, to create chunk plays against the Tigers defense. It looks pretty revved up tonight.
And I'll continue to go back to the decision. I love the aggressiveness of Pitt. But the play calling, I think, really backfired on them. Took a risk, took the big chance of throwing from the pocket against a very aggressive defense. They ended up throwing the interception. And Clemson, of course, turned that into a touchdown. So instead of 21-10, it's 28. They do get the ball back. And I think they got to go back to running the ball and the jet sweep to try to offset the inside run game and see if you can slow down Clemson's D.
See the big rushing numbers for Clemson. Our Dr. Pepper spotlight will put the focus right on Travis Etienne, where it was from the first play of the game when he raced 75 yards around right end.
Yeah, this is a great way to set the tone. First play, it shows you what he can do with his vision. Really growing, I think, is a great back. He's always been elusive, but the vision, being able to be elusive, and then the power that goes along with it, I think is what we talked about at the outset of the broadcast that makes him one of the top backs in the country, and he's had room to run tonight.
9 carries, 143 yards, a couple of touchdowns, raises his rushing total for the season to 21. That's just 1 short of Singletary at FAU for the FBS lead, so they'll try to get him that. And the Tigers defense will be on the field trying to continue a performance that we suspected was coming because they got a tongue lashing last week and they were embarrassed themselves.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be one of those situations where I don't think they're done. I mean, they might be able to build a bigger lead, but this isn't about the scoreboard tonight for Brent Venables and his defense. They want to get back on track before they get ready for the postseason.
Good point. Pittsburgh generating 122 total yards, but again, just 5 through the air. As Kenny Pickett is 3 for 12. That interception-free streak ended after 145 passes. B.T. Potter is the strong-legged freshman. They have depth at kicker as well. He's going to be the field goal guy next season. For now, he's just a really good kickoff guy. On our Pacific Life game summary, it was Pittsburgh deferring, giving Clemson the football first, and there's that run by Etienne to put Pittsburgh in a quick hole.
75 yards really got things started for Clemson, able to get another turnover and turn that into a touchdown. And Pitt looked like they were going to be out of the game, but Olsen got him on the board, got a little confidence established. But you can see that ball floating to the outside. Terrell makes the interception, and Lawrence immediately is able to hit T. Higgins for that touchdown to give him the 18-point lead at the half.
Kenny Pickett told me he feels like his own story is kind of emblematic of Pitt football. Kind of doubted, overlooked a lot. Not a big recruit out of Jersey, but happy to do his job, not caring about stats, very happy when he defers to the running game.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Ouch. Clock not even running, and the play clock winds down and sets Pittsburgh back 5 more.
And Pat Narduzzi fired up. It's the last thing again. Some of these miscues in that first half, he's actually upset with the officials. Maybe they started that play clock a little bit too early. In fact, tried to get a timeout. They're going to have to use their first timeout, so there's not a delay there. That
he's gone to the backup, white look, a different look, drier clothes for the second half as we sit down to Maria Taylor.
I like it. You have jokes, Chris. The rain is slowing down a little bit down here on the field, but I spoke with Dabo Swinney going into the locker room, and one thing he wants his defense to improve is maintaining leverage against the quarterback, Kenny Pickett. He felt like he had a couple of plays with his legs that they really missed some tackles and could have done a better job executing. And on offense, he doesn't want to be conservative. He wants to take his shots. We even saw him talking to his quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, and saying, hey, throw the football. So they're going to look to make some of those big throws and those explosive plays here in the second half, guys.
Maria, we admire your professionalism. I know it was a tough one for the Georgia Dogs there, heartbroken again by Bama, but you're soldiering on tonight, so expect nothing less.
Her team played great.
They did. You're trying to get Georgia in the play.
I'm not trying. They should be. There's no trying.
Phone blowing up over here. Carter tries to pick his way. Well, you hesitate against Clemson, and the posse will come calling quickly.
No doubt about it. And they can run. They can get sideline to sideline, but Pitt has to get that ball on the edge. Has to have some success running to the outside to make that the defensive backs, the edge of the defense have to respect that. It's a big part of what they do. Boy, Pat Narduzzi was fired up after having to use a timeout to get this second half started.
Timeout saves the 5 yards and kept them ahead of the sticks. And now Pickett, the keeper, he's going to be slung down, smashed down hard by Lamar right at the line of scrimmage.
Defense is flying around. He's reading Furl 99. See him come down, so he pulls it. But Dexter Lawrence is right there. Trey Lamar. They read that perfectly and in position. So they intentionally gave him a read to keep it, to get the ball out of the running back's hands. And then the twist with Lawrence and the linebackers, they knew that Pickett would have the ball, and they were there to rally.
Need 4 on third down. Tigers bring a blitz, and they got Pickett back at the 20. It's Trey Lamar from his linebacker position. Fourth down.
Well, they get aggressive all the time on third down. That's just who they are. They actually brought both their linebackers, Joseph, and here's Lamar, who ends up putting the pressure on Pickett. You got 3 down linemen and a bear look, meaning they cover both guards in the center. And because they were occupied, it freed up Trey Lamar, who gets home on that blitz.
Sat out last week with an ankle injury. Probably could have gone, but a smart move to rest him up, and he looks fresh tonight. Butkus Award finalist makes the sack that kills the drive. Stadulu on the bounce. It's Rodgers at the 36. Knocked down at the 38. So Trevor Lawrence, modest stats by the standards of this high-powered offense. 7 completions for 52 yards. The 2 touchdowns came to T. Higgins.
It wouldn't surprise me at all to see them, even with the 18-point lead, give Trevor Lawrence and this offense a chance to stretch this Pitt defense out a little bit. Keep in mind, I don't blame them for running. Pitt, as aggressive as they are, they're 120th in the nation at giving up runs of 20 yards or more. So they've had a few busts over the year, and it's something that they've tried to do is run tonight. But I think they'll throw it more.
Etienne makes that quick cut and gets 8. I'll make you a little gentleman's sign bet that Hunter Renfrow gets involved. He doesn't have a catch yet. He's trying to continue that streak to 41 games that he's played in, and in his 45th start.
The only reason I think they'll throw more is just you want to be balanced, and you want to is this.
Looks like it was the Tigers who flinched that time.
Snap infraction, offense. Number 50, 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Nelly, one of the graduates on this team.
I just think that I think Dabo, because of his experience in the postseason, he likes to be able to go into the postseason with momentum. You know, not just running the ball, but having a balanced attack.
And there's Renfro making his first catch of the night and extending the streak, but it's for a loss as he was hit hard. Amir Watts, the defensive tackle, knocked down the slot receiver.
Watts, actually, I think he's in the inside, but he just felt the line working their way out on a screen and just followed him. The line, Pollard 76, that's who he was up against, and because he worked his way to the outside, just anticipated the ball coming out quickly, and the big fella at 290 has some athletic ability, makes the play.
Renfro's tough, but he's given away 110 pounds in that collision. 3rd and 13. Pressure again, picked up. Lawrence delivers, but again, miscommunication with Higgins, who was streaking down the field.
Offensive line did a pretty good job there. I think the ball might have been tipped, you know, at the line of scrimmage where they got some pressure and it looked like they jumped up, tried to get a hand on the ball. But they did a good job. Pitt was in kind of that rat defense where they're just kind of walking around, and Pine gets up. See if he just missed it. Just missed it.
And Spires just kicks the ball with heavy backspin. It's an ugly looking punt. It hasn't been great execution in that department tonight from the Tigers. Pittsburgh trying to cut into this 18-point lead. Monday Night Football. It's a crucial one in the NFC East. Redskins sitting at 6-5, half game behind the 7-5 Cowboys, taking on Carson Wentz and the Eagles, who are clawing to keep their playoff hopes alive on the ESPN at 8:15 Eastern, also on the ESPN app. Second possession of the second half for the Panthers from the 31. And a first down handoff, and Hall busts free and across the 45.
Dentino in the middle, the center, right guard does a good job. Herndon getting up to the linebacker. That's Pitt football right there. Work the double team, able to get up to the linebackers with the center and the guard, and that gives the running back Hall much more room to work with. There's been a few times where we've seen them be able to control the line of scrimmage.
Hall from Youngstown, Ohio. That's where Narduzzi's background is. You make him tough there. Got it again. That's the sidestep and spin. That's a terrific run. Not a massive gain, but he showed the skills to twice avoid a loss.
Boy, Austin Bryant was right there. I mean, right there. And this is what great backs do. Look at the top, 7 and White, right at the edge, holding the edge. He makes Furl miss, and then Bryant on the other side miss with a spin move. I mean, that is a great run here by a Hall. A little bit more elusive than the powerful Olesen. I think Dabo saw what I saw. Both those ends had a chance to make a play on him, but they're playing against good backs tonight.
Yeah, sometimes running back just makes a good move.
Yeah.
And on the second three, it's Olesen, and he's going to be knocked down right near the marker. You know, Olesen and Hall both kind of began their career in the shadow of James Conner. Then when Conner had his health issues and left, they both got a chance to shine. Conner comes back, pushed them back into the background, and these two guys benefit, Kirk, from the fact that the Steelers are right across the hall, and James Conner having a great year for the Panthers are both around these guys as a mentor. It continues.
Yeah, James Conner has such a great approach to his job, not only when he's of course now playing with the Steelers, but when he was in college and everything he had to overcome, and I'm sure these players have a great appreciation for him and his journey. What a great example for them to follow.
Had a great year, and he continues to be a big Pittsburgh fan, no doubt, looking in tonight. Olesen that time grabbed behind the line or Hollish is by Wilkins.
Well, this is where this defensive line can really take over. Christian Wilkins is right here, and they shoot gaps as well as anybody. And it's a tight gap. You can see how, because of the quickness, Dentino, the center, he tried his best to get over there, but Wilkins, who takes the headbutt from his man Furl, those guys love to challenge one another. But man, Wilkins at 315 pounds with that kind of cat-like quickness is tough.
Carter, and they're all over the jet sweeps now. It's a frequently used and productive play, but Tanner Muse, the safety, and Bryant from his end position.
Yep, and I think you also have to give Trayvon Mullen credit for getting to the outside, occupying the big, heavy blocker, George Aston, the fullback, and that freed up the rest of the safeties and the speed of that defense to just clean it up. Nowhere to go that time on the jet sweep.
Carter has run that jet sweep 5 times, gained a total of 18 yards. Olesen is out, Hall in on 3rd and 11.
See what Brent Venables dials up here.
And they make a play in the pass game. And he brought the pressure, and Pickett scrambling. He'll take off. And no slide. Able to get down 3 yards short of the marker. Wallace stopped him. 4th down, you'd figure the offense stays out there.
Yeah, I mean, he's able to somehow escape. Those 2 linebackers came right up the middle. They shoot him kind of a cross blitz here where they occupy the center. Hall tried to come up on Joseph. I was surprised that he got away from Furl. Gave himself at least a chance here now on 4th down instead of having to punt it.
And to have a chance to claw back in the game down 18. An important play midway 3rd quarter. Gotta hurry. Pickett rolls and throws. A flag is down, complete to Arujo Lopes. Flag right at the line of scrimmage on the far side.
Might be offensive pass interference.
Pick.
Yeah. I'm all about calling it a rub because I like to see the offense catch the break, but it looked like Mac 11 was just blocking downfield. See 11. Watch him here.
2 players in motion. 5-yard penalty.
They're going to get him on a shift, but in my opinion, Mac, you have to hide it a little bit, but they didn't call that at all. It was on the illegal shift, making Pitt punt.
Yeah, that stings because the penalty makes it too much of a gamble apparently for Narduzzi at this point from the 42-yard line. So down 18, as much as he hates to. Narduzzi choosing to send Christodoulou, the punter, out. See if he can again pin the Tigers back. Well, that's very short. It's not going to pin him back unless he gets an incredibly lucky bounce. It does go forward, but just about the 15-yard line where the Tigers will take over up 18.
The 2018 Dr. Pepper ACC Football Championship on ABC is brought to you by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. In part by your local Lexus dealer. Make this December one you'll always remember. And Samsung QLED TV, the official TV of ESPN College Football.
Kind of a clean sweep by Clemson, the ACC awards. Last night, it's like one of those movies you go to the Oscars and it wins in all the categories. Dabo, Coach of the Year. ETN, Offensive and Overall Player of the Year. Furl, Defensive Player of the Year. And, of course, mentioned Lawrence, the Rookie of the Year. Trevor and the Tigers offense back on the field. Trying to build an 18-point lead. ETN working on a potential 200-yard game tonight. They fake it to him and flip it short to Trevion Thompson, who's tackled right away by Hamlin.
I think Thompson, even though you have Renfro and Higgins and Ross and Amari Rogers, even Kendrick, he's kind of a forgotten receiver in this offense. He is more than capable as they get ready for the playoff of making plays and kind of being a great complement to some of the more high-profile receivers.
Ever seen a game, Kirk? We're deep in the 3rd quarter. The yards after catch combined for both teams is 15. Clemson has only 14 yards after the catch. Pitt 1. 1.
Yeah, we have 5 yards passing for Pitt, and we have 56 yards passing for Clemson.
Yeah, 2018.
In Charlotte with the rain.
3rd and 3. That's the power of Clemson's offense, though. If the passing game isn't firing, isn't clicking, they had a couple touchdowns, of course, but running game is good enough to carry him against a lot of people. Lawrence has time and delivers to Renfro. Takes a shot, man. That's right at the marker. Hamlin came up. No yards after that catch.
That's a big hit. That's where you clean it up, is the junior Hamlin, who has experience at corner. In fact, played corner back as a freshman against his Clemson team in Death Valley, but has moved back to safety, leads the team in tackles, has a great feel, and there he just lowered his shoulder right into Hunter Renfro as soon as he caught the ball. But he did pick up that first down. It looks like, yeah, they're both feeling it.
Renfro came back against South Carolina after leaving the Duke game, got knocked in the head, but was good to go the next week. Has not played a lot tonight, and was just his second catch, and actually has negative yards. Mom told a story this week that she's told before, but Suzanne was someone who loved to play catch with Hunter, baseball and football in the backyard. He's a good baseball player, but she wasn't accurate, Kirk. She said she couldn't throw an accurate baseball or football.
That's what helped him. That's probably what helped him. I mean, he has had an incredible career. Of course, this at the end, Deshaun Watson.
Watch the flip here. They don't show it. The flip to the official is the coolest thing about this. Win a championship. Whoop.
There you go. That was incredible. Last play to win it all.
15 career touchdowns, and 6 of them have come in postseason games. Didn't have a postseason touchdown last year. And Lawrence rolling and cheeks it downfield over the head of Rodgers.
This Pitt defense, I mean, and I know you can say the conditions, it's wet, the field's slippery, say whatever you want, but Trevor Lawrence, this defense has done a good job at managing the speed of Clemson in their pass game. Trevor's 10 of 20 for 59 yards, and they've not been able to get behind him consistently at all tonight.
Etienne dragged down nicely by Elias Reynolds, the middle linebacker. He had to step in. They lost linebacker Quentin Virginis before the Notre Dame game. He was their leader back there. They lost their center. This team has had to be resilient because key injuries on both sides of the ball right in the middle of the season.
And Virginis was a big one, and Reynolds has had to step into that Mike linebacker position. And in this particular defense, that's everything. There he is, still being a leader there on the sideline, but out for the year.
The Notre Dame game, the first that he missed, was a loss, but it was a turning point for this team. They gained confidence in battling the Irish right down to the end. Lawrence has a lot of room, and he shows his athletic ability. Dodges a tackler. At 6'6", he can scoop, but he can also make guys miss.
Boy, he can cover a lot of ground at 6'6". And once he builds up his speed, he's really a threat. And I think this is where he's really developed, is understanding when the primary receiver's not there, the second option's not there. Instead of waiting and waiting, he's such a good athlete, you got to take off. Dane Jackson just kind of dove and threw his shoulder. But you're talking about an incredibly athletic and savvy runner in Trevor Lawrence, and picks up that first down.
Yeah, he got 16 yards, had his best running game against the Gamecocks last week. He wanted to go downfield, but then he's just going to run out of time and get swarmed.
Great coverage.
First time.
Yep, great coverage downfield. That's what allowed Pitt to be able to get there with Hendricks. That pocket just kind of collapsed on him. Weaver on one side, Hendricks on the other. See 17 right there. And on the other side, 8. Both those defensive ends did a good job along with the inside of getting a push. It's like Twyman, 55, was in there as well. But really all the credit downfield with nowhere to go with the football for Trevor Lawrence.
Etienne accelerates and then spins for a nice gain. It'll set up 3rd and long, about 9. Travis, a guy that doesn't seek the spotlight. He's very comfortable in his role here. Some backs would want the rock a lot more. Very unselfish.
Look at the defense just moving around, trying to affect the communication. See him pointing?
No hands on the ground at all. And Lawrence throws it up, and that battle is won by Pinnock. He broke it up, working against Ross.
Well, I'm really enjoying watching Pinnock tonight. 15 on one side. Dane Jackson known as a better cover corner, but Pinnock does a good job, again, anticipating on third down at about 8 that ball is going to come out at about 10 yards, 12 yards. So he gets his head turned, looking for the football, and that's what allows him to fight back through the receiver.
I like how you get excited watching corner play, because that's exactly how you coach it. Just drive your hands straight up through the hands of the receiver.
I just love to see corners locate the football in college, because you don't see it very often.
That was textbook, and you're right, he has played a nice game. Another low snap. Spires gets it away. Arujo Lopes looking for some room. And he doesn't get the blocks, and circling back won't help. 2:30 in the third. Panthers still down 18. Well, Purdue superfan, the inspiring Tyler Trenkirk. You get a chance to meet him opening night. We were there when Purdue won it for Tyler against Ohio State. Look what he got this week, a signed ball from Dabo. He thanked him in this tweet. Quite a surprise. Huge thank you for taking the time to send me this football. Good luck in the championship game tonight. And congratulations to Tyler. He won the Disney Spirit Award.
Yes.
To be honored this week in Atlanta on Thursday night. Doing a very distinguished list of past recipients. Maybe Dabo can meet him there.
Yeah. I know a lot of people will be fired up to meet him. I've had a chance to communicate with him quite a bit since we had a chance to get to meet him that weekend of Ohio State and Purdue. And he's had so many great moments.
Ball start, offense, number 70, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Man, they make a play and then they set themselves back time and again. That's their best offensive lineman, Millen, guilty of that time. Another reminder to join ESPN and the V Foundation in the fight against cancer. Visit v.org/donate. All donations benefit the V Foundation for cancer research. Tyler, by the way, saying he hoped maybe to wear one of Craig Sager's fancy sport coats to that event in Atlanta. This is Carter and the left end for the 6th time on a jet sweep tonight. Short gain.
You think everybody will got to a point where they've calmed down after the ranking show tomorrow? You think by the Home Depot show everybody will get it out of their system?
Depends on what happens tomorrow.
I think there's going to be a lot of anger no matter what happens, don't you think? No matter who ends up at 5 or 6.
It's college football. Anger, resentment.
Yeah.
Not diversity.
Yep.
Does it very well.
It's a subjective way of evaluating teams, and that's why there's so much angst and excitement.
Panthers need 6. That penalty hurt their chances here, and that's knocked up in the air. Incomplete. Olesen was hammered right as the ball arrived by Xavier Thomas, the freshman, leaving his mark against the tough senior who's slow to get up.
Well, he's got the slant, and this is where he's, again, going to have to grow. The slant's there for the first down, and instead of taking it, he doesn't even take the moment to look out to see that there's a defender who had dropped from a defensive end position to go out into the flat to take Olesen. He had the slant, decided not to throw it, and without even looking, he didn't realize Thomas was out there.
Olesen gets knocked down hard, but he's part of the punt team. He's the personal protector, so for the moment he's out there.
The play is under further review.
They may look and see if this was a backward pass. You know, to the naked eye, Kirk, it was close to being behind the line. And if it is, and Clemson made an immediate recovery there, this could be viewed as a turnover. Let's see. And Dave Kataya is here. Dave, to me that looks right down the line, or maybe a few inches forward. How do you see that review?
Forward to me.
Yeah, it looks a few inches forward. Regardless, there's not enough to change the call on the field.
And the ball did, by the way, roll out of bounds. It would still be Pittsburgh football, but it would set them back. To me, it's close, but that's a forward pass.
Yeah, they're going to have to let this stand. There's not enough to reverse what was called on the field. It looks forward more than anything.
Here's a 360 cam from the overhead look. I misspoke. This is the whole thing is a matter of a few yards of field position anyway. It's going to be 4th down. Pickett's uniform is not clean, Kirk.
No, it's been one of those nights. You know what? No, I think he's got a bright future. He's only a sophomore, and he's going to be able to continue to. Like that last play was a great example of where quarterbacks who aren't really comfortable sitting in a pocket, they just don't see certain things. And that defensive end, Thomas, dropped, and he never felt it.
It was determined it was an incomplete pass. The ball will be placed at the 26.5-yard line. It'll be 4th down. Please reset the game clock to 1:06.
And again, it's a Pittsburgh team that they didn't have a single first-team All-CC guy. Clemson had 5. Millen, one of those second-team guys, committed the penalty in that series. It's just not an offense that against these guys going to be able to survive the penalties.
No, it's hard enough to beat Clemson, let alone you're having these miscues.
High boot into the misty evening from Christodoulou, and Rodgers catches it right on the sideline. Back to Matt Berry for an update. I'm gonna guess from Indianapolis.
Yeah, Chris, we got one brewing in the Big Ten Championship. Clayton Thorson to Cameron Green, and look at this. Northwestern's found their way back in this ball game, 24-21 halfway through the 3rd quarter.
Wildcats trying to get to 9-4 and perhaps spring an upset and get to the Rose Bowl, where Washington would await. Even if Ohio State holds on, Kirk, many would believe that it was not the emphatic result they needed to come from behind from 6th position to vault over Oklahoma and Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, it was Oklahoma was the team that everybody thought was in that pole position if Alabama blew Georgia out, which they did not.
On the slant, that's Higgins almost got free for a 3rd touchdown, tackled by Jackson.
There you see Trevor Lawrence being able to get into a rhythm and lead T. Higgins down the field. These pick corners are in tight coverage. The windows are tight. Throws have to be right on the money. And that time he gives Higgins a chance, throwing it out in front of him.
You suggested they might try to open up the passing game in the latter stages of this. This is a keeper for Lawrence, who again gets around the edge and deceptively gobbles up about 8 yards.
Yeah, kind of a little bit of a triple option look here where Trevor Lawrence is reading Folston. Watch 40 come into the picture. Actually should have given this because Folston looks like he's going to come down, and then he comes back out on the quarterback. He starts to look like he wants to throw it out to the outside to Renfro, but you can see he's well covered by Hamlin, so he decides to just take off and pick up 7 or 8 yards.
Final play of the 3rd quarter. It's a flea flicker, and lofting it downfield to a wide open Justin Ross, who's going to be stopped just short of the goal line. Trickery to end the 3rd period.
And they brought a corner blitz with Jackson, which meant the safety had one-on-one coverage, and Briggs was late to respond. You see how Ross kind of slow-played it, showed like he was going to block. Briggs fell for it, and then watch him in the background. He goes right behind him, and Lawrence, getting all that pressure from the corner blitz, puts it up in the air for that nice play.
So Clemson on the doorstep when the final period starts. Back after this message and a word from your local ABC station. Rousing rendition of God Bless America before we begin the 4th quarter. Dr. Pepper ACC football championship game. That was impressive.
That's the best thing I've seen all night. That was awesome. Woo!
Well, Clemson, Kirk, had 59 passing yards all night. They got 60 passing yards on this drive. The flea flicker to Ross stopped at the 1-yard line, so they'll try to add to this lead as we begin the 4th period.
And that last play, you get a good feel for Trevor Lawrence's arm strength. He was actually falling backwards when he just flicked that with his wrist. Told you how Briggs kind of got caught up, little flea flicker. Safety saw the handoff, came up, and look at this. The pressure forced him to just get rid of the ball as quickly as he could. And he just fell back because he knew how open he was and had enough to get on the ball to get it out to Ross.
Choice is the choice on 1st and goal, and he shows great determination and spotted short, not marked a touchdown yet. Let's double check this. Choice a tough runner on 3rd down and 4th down and short.
The only thing I think he can see, must have caught his knee before he got into the end zone.
The elbow, maybe. It's very close.
Boy, it looked like he got in.
Did he get in there? Yes. No doubt that time. Choice does his job. And Clemson moves it through the air right to the doorstep for this 1-yard run.
Nice drive by Clemson. Nice job at throwing the football. They were able to get some big plays, throwing the ball downfield finally to Higgins on that nice kind of skinny post. Ross on the flea flicker where he got the ball out, almost came up with a touchdown, and Choice ends up finishing it off to give Clemson a big lead here now in the second half.
Talking to Trevor this week, his dad, Jeremy, was his first coach, youth football, and I asked him, when did you notice that you got a talent for throwing this darn football? I said, about 8th grade, I started to figure out that maybe I can do this better than most of the other kids. You think?
Yeah, I think he's got a chance here.
35-10. All right, tomorrow the exclusive reveal of that 4-team bracket, and by the way, all the other bowl matchups. We say Cricket's at 4 hours.
Yeah.
Here's the history of the playoff. All the question marks obviously over here on this side, but you notice the 16 previous playoff spots. You got 7 of the 16 taken up by 2 teams, and it's going to be 9 out of 20 because obviously Alabama's going to go in, Clemson's going to go in if they hold this lead.
Get clear, Ben.
It's just coach me up. I'm allowed 2 usages a year of that, and that's one of them. So
we'll save one.
It's just domination by 2 programs is my point.
Yeah, it is. You're right. But
Here's
we kind of knew that coming into the year.
You know, Kirk, by the way, next year at this time, covering kickoff could perhaps be 2 scrappy walk-ons out of Brentwood MBA Academy. Let's go to the huddle tape of Jay Kirkstreet. He comes up here. Boom, as the corner makes a big hit.
Yes. They're
Ty, the receiver.
Yep.
And they're going to be preferred walk-ons for Dabo Swinney's Clemson program.
Yes.
He's seen, I was watching this yesterday. He's already seen him.
Yes.
Come up to camp, right?
Yeah, they came to camp, worked out with the coaches, had a great visit. I've always been blown away by Dabo, the way he runs his program, and when the boys talked about maybe wanting to do that at Clemson, I was 100% behind them and look forward to them being a part of that program. What a unique opportunity for them.
But Pat Narduzzi made a comment about Dabo this week. Very complimentary, done an incredible job. Not only a football coach, but a businessman. That's an interesting word to use. The CEO of Clemson, building a powerhouse. I'd like to be like Dabo someday. I just think he does everything the right way. And he does everything. He is the CEO, but he's also, as you said, very hands-on.
He does things very differently. We all have been all around the country, and he walks the walk on how he runs his program. And you either follow the rules or you don't. And if you're Deshaun Watson or Trevor Lawrence, and you don't follow the rules, then you're going to have consequences, and all the way down. So he treats everybody the same, and he has incredible coaches and his staff around him, even the secretaries. It's just a great aura around that program.
And again, Carter on that jet sweep, and they're beginning to chase him down. That was a big play by Isaiah Simmons. It's a loss.
Well, this defense is flying around. Remember how, again, we keep talking about how they played last week, and they're not going to give up until this game is over. And Simmons in particular is the one that wants to play well. This jet sweep has given them some problems tonight at times, but they've made some adjustments and playing much better against it here in the second half.
By the way, Kirk, do you know that today is exactly the 10th anniversary of Dabo's hiring as the permanent head coach, December 1, 2008. Barely 39 years old at the time. Just turned 49 a couple weeks ago. 3rd and 26. Good luck, Pitt. Oldison, short gain, and they'll set up the punt.
The other thing that they do a good job is rotating bodies, not just with a big lead. You'll see Brent Venables rotating defensive linemen, secondary guys. They have a big philosophy, and you can see he put a lot on them this week. He wanted them to play well, and they've kind of answered that challenge, because it's not just about winning the ACC championship in Charlotte. It's about getting that swagger back and that confidence back before they get ready for that next game in the playoffs.
This to Dulu's punt. Going to bounce in front of Rodgers and out of bounds. Has a defense ever given up more than 500 yards passing one week and then allowed 8 next week? Has that ever happened? Well,
I would go out on a limb and say no.
The 2018 Dr. Pepper ACC Football Championship on ABC is brought to you by Ice Cold Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. In part by Pacific Life. Experience the power of Pacific. And Buick, proud partner of the NCAA.
I'll make some space in that trophy case. A couple hours down the road at Clemson for another ACC championship. It'll be 4 in a row if they can close this out up 25. 15 schools on one network, a new place to call home, the ACC network, coming next summer. And we'll see Clemson and Georgia Tech on that network. Very first game in late August 2019. Clemson actually had enough points to have the lead in this one very early in the first quarter. Pittsburgh battled back 14-10, but 3 straight touchdowns for the Tigers, and they are set up at the Panthers 43 after the short punt. Lawrence did get a very good drive established this last time out and did a number of different things, had his eyes downfield, and it's that RPO that has become so effective. And here's a zone read. He actually miscalculates that. He wants to maybe throw it and everything's covered, so he just takes off and again shows you the speed that he has, and Tigers eventually got a touchdown up on the board. Speaking of speed, Kirk, Lynn J. Dixon, who's another freaky true freshman in there. He's a freshman out of Butler, Georgia, who's just another huge talent. He figures to be a 1-2 punch next year with ETN. He's in the game now with a clean uniform and fresh legs.
They just say he's raw. Just it reminds me a lot of ETN where he was last year, and we keep talking about how much he's grown and become more of a complete back. And I think you'll see Jay Dixon have the same opportunity. And you're right, heck of a 1-2 punch next year. He's gained 531 yards, mostly in mop-up duty, but he's averaged more than 10 yards per carry this year.
Snap infraction. Offense, number 50. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Plenty to achieve, of course, in the remainder of this season, but for Clemson looking forward, they'll lose Renfro, Trevion Thompson, the 2 seniors in the receiving corps. Adam Choice moves on. They'll lose some blockers up front like Mitch Hyatt, but really everyone else in this offense back. They get some big names, obviously, to replace on the defensive front. Yeah. And that time, Dixon met in the backfield by Dennis Briggs.
Yeah, most people, when they think of Clemson this year, they think of the senior class. They do think of the defense. But overall, this senior class, chance to, and the numbers could still go up. But right now, 52-4. After tonight, they'll have 4 playoff appearances. Think about being a senior at Clemson. 4 playoff appearances, 4 ACC titles, and already 1 national title. I mean, you're talking about has to be the most decorated class, not just in Clemson history. You could put that other than Alabama's seniors. You could put that up there with anybody.
Why have they done all that? In Dabo's words, the eye of the tiger. Focused intensity, passionate, special leadership, very selfless bunch. you can get out and catch it as a guy on the coverage team, but you can't get that close to the returner. TJ Chase will be called for kick catch interference. Just try to take it away from the man.
He went airborne. He's a receiver, so he's just going up trying to make a play.
Yeah, that's instinctive, but it's not legal. And the hunger that, despite how much they've achieved, continues to be the hallmark of the senior class, will continue into the playoff, apparently. They were disappointed in themselves. They ran into an Alabama buzzsaw, of course, in the semifinals last year in New Orleans with Kelly Bryant at quarterback. Couldn't get anything going. A very different offensive dynamic, obviously, with Lawrence. Bryant, by the way, is going to decide and announce in a couple of days whether it's Auburn or Missouri, perhaps, his next move, choosing to leave Clemson, unlike Jalen Hurts, who stuck around at Alabama, and thank goodness for the Tide fans he did, as he played a huge role in that comeback today.
Yeah, we talked about that comeback and how it was our mayhem moment of the day, and I just want to tip my cap to Jalen Hurts, because in an era where a lot of guys leave.
Personal foul, face mask, number 19. That penalty's declined. Kick catch interference against the kicking team, number 18. 15-yard penalty, first down.
In an era where a lot of guys leave, he decided to stick it out, be a great teammate, and be there for his team, and he got a chance to end up saving their season.
Sure did. Take a break.
Pat Barry with the college football studio update, checking in on the Big Ten. The true freshman last week against Michigan, Chris Olave, had a big game. Gets one here from Dwayne Haskins. Third touchdown of the night for Haskins. 31-21, end of the third. Christian Kirk.
All right, Matt, thank you. Hall cuts it back and in the clear and into Clemson territory.
Well, that is a nice cutback, a natural run here by Hall. This is part of what makes him so good. Inside zone, designed to go to the right. He felt the overflow by the defense and used his vision to cut that back for big yards.
Got 29 of them. He's got it again. Getting updates in that Big Ten championship game. My guy Mike Black, former Boise Stater, is over here watching the Mountain West Conference championship game. That's on ESPN. And Fresno State and Boise State may be headed for overtime in the what was once the blue rug, but is now the white rug. It's a snowstorm up there in Boise.
Snow and low-scoring game. Ohio State up 10 when they just started the fourth quarter.
Buckeyes, if they do fall short of that playoff bracket, head to the Rose Bowl. Take on Washington. Yet again, it's Carter on the jet sweep. And he shows the speed. Didn't need much space to get going. And he's out near the first down.
Yeah, he and French both do a good job with that jet sweep. We keep talking about how it's a big part of Sean Watson's offense because they lack a premier passing game. So they have to use that jet sweep to keep these defenses honest and just have to do something to complement their running game. And it turns out pretty good for them.
I'm just hanging on in suspense here to see if the Panthers can get in double digits in passing yards. They got more points than pass yards, 8 of them tonight. Incredible. Pick at 4 of 14. So run. Olesen not going to get first down yardage as the Tigers in a pile stop him.
Linebacker play. And keep in mind, Clemson's playing their backups right now, but Chad Smith, nice job along with J.D. Davis. Being able to navigate their way through defensive line, eating up those blocks, and J.D. Davis to the outside of that block by Aston, and Chad Smith came down.
So they still need a yard. It's 4th down. Offset eye. Aston in front of Olesen. Olesen tried to stretch the ball across the line to make as Smith tackled him, and it's going to be a first down where they spot it.
Well, that took every effort to fight through Chad Smith to come up with that first down, and it's close. They're going to give it to him. Brent Venables and the entire starting defensive line next to him kind of cheering on the back.
He wanted that stop.
Yeah, and also giving the officials. Look at that. Look at that penetration. I mean, that's like I said, a heck of an effort by Olesen to somehow extend that football across the line.
Venables not convinced that he didn't reach across before he went down. Now it's Hall. Boy, down by 25. They are still not taken to the air. They are just trying to grind out whatever they can on the ground.
They want you to sit on the edge of your seat to see if they get to 10 yards. They got 2 more yards to go.
Boy, if you don't talk about an army or an option attack, not often in 2018 do you see a team. It's got 4 completed passes. Actually, Miami had what was it, 6 completions in the victory over Pitt?
Yeah,
last week 6, I think it was.
Yep.
All for a yard. Running back comparison. Of course, CTN's had the explosive run, 75 on the very first carry. And the Pacific Life game summary shows you that Olesen's had to earn all those 56.
Yeah, 13 carries. One guy's going to be feeling a little bit more than ETN. Every time he gets the ball, he's fighting through linemen and linebackers, it seems like. Physical runner. Hall in there now.
3rd and 5. We attempt a forward pass here. We do not. And that's Hall, who's going to be dropped short. And it's another 4th down as the Clemson backups starting to get their uniforms dirty now.
Logan Rudolph right back here. Watch him chase this from behind. He's a backup defensive end. He doesn't get many opportunities, and so when he does, he's going to play with his hair on fire. Good speed and a good effort guy from the freshman.
He says, I'm tired of having a clean jersey. I'm going to get down here in the grass and roll around and look like I played in a game.
That was a good play.
What do you think here, Kirk? 4th and 5. Are they going to run it?
Still waiting. I'm still waiting on the pass.
Begging for a pass. Oh, no. It's a miscue and a turnover. Or did he hold on? It's a scrum at the bottom. Pickett just fighting with a couple Tigers for the football. It's going to be Clemson football either way, either on downs. So the backups make a stand, and Pitt's still sitting on 8 passing yards tonight. Pre-game, there's a moment of silence honoring the memory of George Herbert Walker Bush, the 41st president, passed away yesterday. Our condolences to the Bush family. What a gentleman. I had a chance to meet him once. The honor. It was at a football game, Texas A&M game. He was associated with that school. Quarterback change at Clemson as the Tigers go with Chase Bryce, the guy who came on. Kirk heroically rallied Clemson from behind against Syracuse after Lawrence had been knocked out. Had that great laser pass on 4th and 9 to keep the drive going.
The Bear and I are putting together a postseason Herbie Awards, and you have to come up with moments of the year, plays of the year. That 4th and 9 you could put up there in a top 3 for plays of the year because what it meant for Clemson not only that day, but here they are still with a chance to win the ACC and be in the playoff.
There's Choice, 2+3, and Choice dragged down inside the 35. We'll show you that play you were talking about, that drive. They were back way up, needed a touchdown.
And they just had lost Kelly Bryant. Nobody really knew at the time who he was, and this is the play to T. Higgins. Chase Bryce makes that throw, and eventually ETN gets into the end zone, and the Tigers survive a scare from the Orange. But that throw, I think, a lot of fans will appreciate and remember for a long time.
No doubt. And that guy it shows you the value of preparation. He was the 3rd string quarterback the previous Sunday.
Yep.
Bryant leaves, Lawrence gets hurt, and you go immediately into the hot seat and you produce.
Jeff Scott and Tony Elliott get a lot of the recognition and attention, and they should, for this offense because they're co-offensive coordinators. But Brandon Streeter, the quarterback coach and former Clemson Tiger quarterback himself, does incredible work with these guys. There's Tony Elliott, one of the offensive coordinators, but Brandon Streeter, the quarterback coach, does a great job working with them and preparing them for the different opportunities that might come up.
False start.
And Bryce was ready that day.
Number 79, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
I love that you point that out as one of the moments of the season, because sometimes in the chaos of a college football season, it's the forgotten moments. It could happen early in a season in a sport where there's a small margin for error. And if you think back to the game that you and Reese called when I was doing the tennis down there in College Station, and A&M is battling from behind, and Clemson has to stop a 2-point conversion in that game where they're in overtime playing the lottery against the Aggies.
Yeah, that was a great win that day in that atmosphere.
Look out, Bryce keeps it, has a crease, and it's going to be just tripped up at the 5. He was thinking about scoring there.
How about that Pitt defense? They all went down on the back. Watch Weaver for 17. There's no way a quarterback's keeping it. And then Chase Bryce gets out into the open field. The safety's gone. Briggs almost has the speed to get it all the way to the end zone. And there's Trevor Lawrence cheering him on. Get in there, man. So close. Pitt's defense fooled there.
1st and goal. And there's the young man bouncing it in. Dixon scores. And the next wave of talented Tigers making plays as they stretch the lead. And that's a relief to some Tigers fans. Another interested parties looking in as they go up by 31 with the PHC coming. We serve all customers.
We certainly do. That was a big score, as you said, and love to see Dixon get a chance to run the football. He is as gifted as any of the backs they have, just needs more reps, more experience. But man, he gets out in the open field. He's fun to watch.
6 touchdowns for the Tigers tonight. Bugle's still perfect on the season, and PATs 32 is the margin now. The Dr. Pepper Trophy will be awarded in the post-game ceremony on the ESPN app. That's how to find comments from Dabo Swinney and Travis Etienne. Will be the Dr. Pepper Unrivaled Player of the Game. Etienne got things off to an electric start with a 75-yard scamper on the first play. 12 rushes, 156, and a couple of touchdowns. He's been stretching that leg out. Just at his big moment there, popped inside the athletic training tent. Don't think it's anything serious. Paris Ford taking a turn and returner knocked down across the 15. You know, we talked, Kirk, about the 2-point conversion stop by Clemson way back against A&M. If you think about this season involving contending teams, how important the 2-point conversion plays were. This is bedlam. Oklahoma has to hang on as Gundy just rolls the dice and goes for the win. They get the stop, and then Ohio State survives inaccurate throw on a 2-point conversion against Maryland. So you take away the result, reverse the result of those 3 plays. What a different playoff chase it is.
Yeah. I mean, in every single one of those plays, you can go back and if you really dissect them, you could see how the plays unfolded and how easily they could have gone the either way.
Forward pass attempt by Pittsburgh, a chuck downfield, and it's incomplete. December 29th, semifinals be taking place. Capital One Orange Bowl down at Hard Rock, Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic in Arlington, feeding into the championship game in Santa Clara.
People should remember the committee decides where the number 1 seed will have the best home field advantage. So who ends up at 4 would ultimately affect where Alabama, you would think, would go. If Oklahoma, for example, ended up at 4, you wouldn't want to send Alabama to Dallas. They would therefore, if it was Oklahoma, end up in Miami. I personally don't have Oklahoma in the top 4. I have Alabama at 1, Clemson at 2. Georgia moves from 4 up to 3 after their performance today, where they went toe-to-toe with the champ Alabama. And I moved Notre Dame down to 4, leaving Oklahoma and Ohio State out at 5 and 6. Which would move Alabama. Probably Bama would, in that case, if that happened, Bama would play in Arlington. It's a Cotton Bowl.
The only change you have is Georgia losing and moving up. So you're going to have to obviously explain your reasoning. This is going to be viewed somewhat controversial by people.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well,
you don't recognize that?
It's kind of simple. I don't get caught up in the conference. I don't get caught up in 2 teams from one conference. I get caught up in what is the committee trying to do in the final weekend. Give us the best 4. Well, if Georgia was 4 based on the committee coming into the weekend, how in the world can they be right there beating Alabama most of the game, the number 1 team in the country, and outplaying the number 1 team in the country, and then lose at the end by a great effort by Jalen Hurts and Bama, and they're going to go backwards for that effort? To me, no. They should go forward. And the loss at LSU, most people lose at LSU. So I have no issue with 2 losses. If you're asking me who the best 4 teams are, Georgia cannot be left out.
There'll be a loud chorus of boos from those who don't, again, want to see 2 SEC teams, much less the same 2
I just
back-to-back
don't care
years.
about that. I'm not here as waving an SEC flag. I'm just being truthful in who the 4 best teams are. And if they happen to be from one conference, then they happen to be from one conference.
Matt Berry in the Ford wrap-up show after the game. There's going to be SportsCenter on later on, and this conversation will continue. We'll give you variety of opinions on that. I understand what you're saying. I think if they're gonna bang the drum loudly and say best four, then it's hard to ignore what Georgia has done. I do think that it would be quite historic. There's no precedent for it. I knew half the committee is new. That may play into it, but again, conference championships are supposed to.
But they don't mean anything. And if the only reason they ever mean something is if it comes down to a point where teams are in that cluster, and you're going to separate.
But you don't have Oklahoma and Georgia in the same cluster.
Not based on what I watched Georgia today. I don't. And for me, look, if you want to do metrics, that favors Georgia. They're in the top 5 in offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency. One of only 3 teams in the country that can say that. The other 2, Alabama and Clemson. Alabama's 90th, or Oklahoma rather, is 90th in defensive efficiency. So I just think Georgia's a more complete team.
I wouldn't argue with that. I mean, there have been plenty of championship teams, much less playoff teams, that are absolutely elite on one side of the ball, as Oklahoma is. Let's face it, their offense is historically good.
Yeah.
Level of competition, I get it. As the Gatorade bath is moved toward Dabo Swinney, you got a couple of those defensive linemen, Bryant, Furrow, on the case here. This has become a regular thing. He comes stained in orange. First, they're going to get Venables. They hit him in the head with it. He's still all smiles.
Well, after last week, that's a great sign and a great scene there for.
They were coached tough, but they knew they had it coming, and they showed up today. And even 200 yards total offense by Pitt, and they're going to finish with 8 yards passing. Dabo Swinney had already been dunked. Now, experienced head coach. There's been times when he used to wear like the white sweatshirt, and that didn't look very good with the orange Gatorade. So now he goes all orange tonight, and it's a rank. They got him pretty good.
4 straight ACC championships, 4 straight playoff appearances. Congratulations to the Clemson Tigers, and they're off to the playoff.
They are, matching Florida winning 4 straight SEC championships. That's the only 2 teams that have won 4 straight championship games in their conference. Quarterbacks change. It was Watson, then it was Bryant, and now it's Lawrence. The constant is Clemson, and they are back atop the ACC and headed to the playoff again, competing for another championship. Down to Maria Taylor with Dabo.
All right, Coach, for the first time in conference history, a team has won the championship 4 times in a row, and you're the guy that gets the Gatorade bath at the end of the game for it. How would you describe what this team has just proven here today?
Well, same thing they've proven all year, man. They've been up to the challenge, up to the task all year. Unbelievable leadership. You can't win 4 in a row if you don't win 1, 2, and 3. So, shout out to all those teams who put us in this position to have an opportunity to do something for the first time. But man, I'm just so proud of my staff and my team. I'm thankful. This is 10 years ago today. I got hired at Clemson 10 years ago today. And so appreciate Terry Don Phillips, having a vision and giving me that opportunity 10 years ago. I slept good 10 years ago that night, and I'm going to sleep good tonight 10 years later. But, man, I'm just thankful to the good Lord. What a blessing. It's been an unbelievable year, 13-0. But this team, they just continue to show up and prepare every single day, and we're excited to get to postseason now, and hopefully we can continue this thing.
Yeah, you said you're going to sleep good tonight, but when you wake up, you'll find out where you land in the college football playoff. Where does this team belong?
Well, we belong in the playoff. I mean, we're 13-0, and so, I mean, just tell us where we're going to go, and we'll show up. What was that?
Pizza party?
Oh, nope. Well, we're going to have a pizza party. We got a team meeting at 11:45, and then we got a little team pizza party at noon. The budget, it got into the budget, So, but I appreciate our fans. What an amazing crowd, great atmosphere. I hope they don't have a game here tomorrow because this field is a mess. But, I loved it. This was a lot of fun. This was old school, gritty, sloppy. I mean, we even intercepted the punt. First time I've seen that. But a lot of fun. I'm just proud of our guys and appreciate our fans. And this is just a special moment. It's what it's all about. You work all year long for this moment, and our guys were ready.
All right, well, congratulations, Coach. Continue to enjoy this. Chris Kirk, I'm going to try to get us an invite to the pizza party if I can.
Well, we'll be busy tomorrow, but it'll be fun down there at Clemson. The pizza party's become a tradition. Lawrence, his first championship, not his last in college, I suspect. And Dabo mentioned high noon Eastern time. That's about 12 and a half hours from now, and the 4-hour extravaganza will begin over on ESPN. And that committee of 13 sequestered there in Grapevine, Texas, just outside of Dallas, going through the metrics, evaluating the eye test, Kirk, and trying to come up with this field of 4. There weren't any surprises today. Teams that were supposed to win won. Alabama, Clemson here, of course, Oklahoma in Dallas. Ohio State is hanging on against Northwestern. But this is your top 4, and you're firm on moving Georgia up off the loss into 3.
Yeah, I think there weren't necessarily any surprises. The biggest surprise was that Georgia outplayed Alabama for much of that football game, and Nick Saban deserves a lot of credit for his team finding a way, and they'll secure that top spot. I cannot wait to see how the committee evaluates Georgia, because like I said, they were 4 coming into the weekend. I don't know how they go backwards. I think the only place they can go is up, and I think they can go up. And don't get caught up in they're not a conference champion. They have 2 losses. You can bring that up all you want. I still think if you're looking at the best 4 teams, Georgia's going to be in there.
This is what you would do. Is this what you think they will do?
I don't know. They asked me what I think they should do. I think that. You could say that I'll say this about the committee. Last year I thought they would take the easy way out and put Ohio State in last year as a Big Ten champion, and they didn't. They did the right thing by putting Alabama in as one of the top 4, and they went on to win the national title. So I think they'll do what I just put up there.
Best news, Kirk, we get to do a semifinal, the championship game in the Rose Bowl. It's been a blast throughout the regular season. Our thanks to Dave Kataya, of course, Maria working hard down in the slot tonight, Darren Brown, Mark Amento, Mike Black up in the booth, and our entire dedicated crew all season long, bringing you these broadcasts that we hope you've enjoyed. Bill Bedell, the producer, Derek Mobley, the director. A huge salute to the entire truck all season long on ABC Saturday Night Football. We'll talk to you tomorrow when the bracket comes out, and of course we'll see you in the postseason. Go over to the ESPN app for the trophy presentation and the comments of the Tigers from the podium. But Matt Berry is standing by right now with the Ford Wrap-Up Show.